Fairy Tale, Summoning the Great Tomb of Nazarick at the start. Chapter 61. Kindness. Since you remember it, that's fine. Lin Yan looked at Ziref's expression and nodded without hesitation. Amidst the golden light, he walked straight in, followed by Irene and Anna holding Urza and Luju in their arms. After Lin Yan, Irene and Anna completely disappeared, Ziref cut off the supply of magic power to the Eclipse Gate, and then the Eclipse Gate closed, leaving Ziref alone. Recalling Lin Yan's instructions to him just now, Ziref decided to obey Lin Yan's instructions and try not to have any relationship with the magic of life and death in the future. The world is still running normally without Lin Yan and others. Because the arrangement when Lin Yan left was pretty good, so when Lin Yan left for the first year, although there were some minor turmoil due to the disappearance of the Great Tomb of Nazarick and the Sanctuary. But overall it is relatively stable. The students recruited a few years ago by Saint Cecilia Academy, Nazarick Academy of Magic and Dragon Slayer Academy have gradually begun to graduate, and they have begun to input vital energy to human beings. In addition, Ziref took care of it, and there was no chaos for a while. In a short time, it seems that the human side is still a thriving scene. After another 3 years or so, generally speaking, nothing special happened, and they were all going according to the script arranged by Lin Yan. The Dragonov Kingdom and Heartfilia Kingdom put most of their energy on researching magic. Strive to complete the targets set by Lin Yan before leaving as soon as possible, and study the magic network and its series of prosperous entertainment systems as soon as possible. However, the fact that Lin Yan disappeared with all the forces was somewhat affected. People who graduated from the 3 major academies, Saint Cecilia Academy, Nazarick Academy, and Dragon Slayer Academy basically possess extremely powerful power. Without the 3 major forces that Lin Yan has over his head, one day the ambitions in his heart will start to burn, and even in the 5th year of Lin Yan's departure, such signs have already appeared. A person named Acknowledge graduated from both Saint Cecilia Academy and Dragon Slayer Academy. Combining the Saint Cecilia's small universe combat system with the Dragon Slayer's combat system, this man named Acknowledge suddenly possesses unprecedented power. This kind of power is so powerful that even an ordinary giant dragon is inferior. Acknowledge's obsession makes the Saint Cecilia's microcosmic power system 100% exerted. Even if there is no holy garment, it is terrifying to the extreme. And Natsu, who also successfully graduated from the Saint Cecilia Academy in the 6th year, became a Saint Cecilia reservist with a small universe and possessed great power. When Lin Yan left for the 7th year, the news that Lin Yan and the forces he belonged to disappeared began to make the Dragon Clan move. Attracted many people's attention. At this time, it was less than 10 years before the era of the Dragon Clan came to an end, and the hatred between the human and the Dragon Clan had not weakened much at all, and the 2 sides still hated each other. It's just that because of Lin Yan's existence, these things were suppressed to death. After all, the Dragon Clan couldn't think of a way to win and defeat Lin Yan. Even the strongest Dragon King of the Dragon Clan, King of Thunder Dragon Alfred, died in Lin Yan's hands. In the same year, an ordinary dragon was approached by Acknowledge and killed. Although Acknowledge was also in a very extreme state, Acknowledge did succeed. Moreover, after bathing in dragon blood, Acknowledge found that his dragon-slaying magic had undergone a qualitative change, and it was very obvious that his strength had been further improved in a short period of time. This kind of improvement may be an improvement that Acknowledge may not be able to achieve after practicing for several years. Coupled with the old hatred with the dragons, Acknowledge began to frantically search for the dragons to kill the dragons. After knowing this time, the other dragon slayers also began to search for the dragons like Acknowledge. There were those who succeeded in killing the dragon, and some who were unsuccessful in the challenge but were killed by the dragon. As the situation continued to develop, neither Ignir, the king of fire dragons, nor Ziref could continue to suppress them. The conflict between humans and dragons broke out again. This time, the difference in combat power between humans and dragons is no longer huge. The world is once again stained with blood. There are humans and dragons. Chapter 62. This time the war is still not the so-called Dragon King Festival. The arrival of Lin Yan almost completely turned the dragons and humans into confrontation. There is no longer any problem between the doves and the hawks. Both sides almost have an irresolvable hatred. There may occasionally be a few dragons who can see the problem thoroughly, but most of the dragons have to hide with Ignir, the king of fire dragons, because of the force majeure mountain of Lin Yan. Now that the force majeure mountain of Lin Yan has disappeared, naturally there is no need to hide in the world. In addition, Acknowledge has won the first bloody kill, and the contradiction will arise. Acknowledge became more and more brave in battle, relying on Xiao Universe's gold finger to kill many dragons abruptly. Natsu is lost in a battle between humans and dragons. Ziref didn't want Natsu to fight, but Natsu sneaked to the front because all his comrades went to the front, and it would be too cowardly not to go. Natsu, who is just a Saint CE reserve, has doubled the combat power of the speed of sound, which is naturally very good at the beginning of the main story of the original book. Not to mention the S-level combat power, it is not a problem to mix an A-level evaluation. And even the most mediocre ordinary dragon family has 10 times the speed of sound. In the world without special power, 100 meters and 15 seconds belong to the speed of normal people, but only 100 meters and 9.6 seconds are the world's first. The speed gap in the middle is not even doubled. It is conceivable how terrible the gap between 10 times the speed of sound and 1 time the speed of sound is. In the face of the complete outbreak of the Dragon Clan, except for the pervert-like Acknowledge that combines the two major combat power systems, the others are barely able to compete with a little bit of strength. After Natsu died, things became very simple. After all, Ziref was a complete brother-in-law, and Natsu died. Even with Lin Yan's warning, Ziref would probably devote himself to the study of life and death magic after hesitating for a while. The arrival of Lin Yan has changed a little, but it seems that nothing has changed. Just like the first generation of Naruto in the world of Naruto, Senju is in general. When Senju was alive, the major ninja villages were very harmonious, and no one dared to do anything. But once Qinshaozuma left, disappeared. The originally peaceful world was once again infected with war, and this time it was the same. After Lin Yan, the mountain that is pressing on all beings, leaves, under the expansion of power, human desires continue to expand, and the world will be chaotic sooner or later. It can only be said that human desires are infinite. Before there is no strength, facing the Dragon Clan can only beg and pray, hoping that the Dragon Clan can let him go, or protect himself. However, when they have the power to change their own destiny, the human side has instead become an existence similar to the Dragon family. To explain it with a very classic sentence, it is probably that the hero who kills the dragon will eventually become the dragon. Time is like an arrow, and the sun and the moon are like shuttles. When Lin Yan left the time channel constructed by the Eclipse Gate, Lin Yan directly crossed 400 years and came to the future. Lin Yan didn't know much about what happened after he left. Although Lin Yan predicted that no matter how perfect his plan was, various deviations would always occur, but Lin Yan himself could not have imagined that the final deviation would be so great. The places where Lin Yan, Irene, Anna, and others came out are random places. It should be X years now. Lin Yan looked at the surrounding environment and muttered to himself with some curiosity. Because of some obsessive-compulsive disorder, Lin Yan positioned the time of travel X years after exactly 400 years. Lin Yan traveled to the fairy tale world at the end of December in X391. However, Lin Yan's voice just fell. Lin Yan's attention was attracted by a girl with dark purple hair not far away. Although this girl looks good and has a great figure, these are not important. It was mainly the guild badge on the girl that caught Lin Yan's attention, because it was the guild badge of the Fairy Tale Guild. At this time, behind the purple-haired girl, there were a few members that Lin Yan felt familiar. Magnolia. Behind the Fairy Tale Guild headquarters, among the cultivated fields on the hillside. One of the few remaining members of the Fairy Tale Guild, Kainana, is plowing the field with a hoe. Chapter 63. Now, all the main members of the Fairy Tale Guild have disappeared for 7 years. Because of this, the economic situation of the guild can be said to be very bad, so Kainana will take care of the farmland and increase the output of food in her spare time. This is also something that can't be helped. The lack of the main force leads to fewer and fewer task delegations, and the reduction of task delegations leads to fewer guild members. This cycle of disadvantage is repeated. By now, Fairy Tale was no longer the strongest guild in the Fiori Kingdom 7 years ago. It's almost time to receive the goods again. It seems that I can receive a lot of food this year, so I can subsidize the guild. Kainana looked at the golden scene on the farmland, just let out a little breath, and muttered to herself happily. However, Kainana's voice had just fallen, and a 100-meter giant gate with special lines flashing golden light suddenly appeared in the sky. The appearance of this 100-meter giant gate suddenly caught Kainana's attention. At this moment, the surrounding area of nearly 1,000 meters was printed in gold and yellow by this golden ancient giant gate. Such a huge change has taken place outside, and everyone in the Fairy Tale Guild not far away also noticed it, and the few remaining members of Fairy Tale quickly ran out. What happened? Kainana, what's the situation now? A middle-aged uncle with dark purple hair who looked very vicissitudes looked at the huge golden door in the sky and was a little wary. This is Macau Conbolt, the fourth-generation president of Fairy Tale. After the disappearance of the main force of Fairy Tale, he temporarily served as the acting president, and then officially became the fourth-generation president of the Fairy Tale Guild due to the appointment of the Magic Council. He is also the only president who does not know the secret fairy heart of the Fairy Tale Guild. Although he has no strength, he is just a B-level wizard, but in the original work, the reason why Fairy Tale can stubbornly continue to operate for 7 years has a large part of the credit of Macau. Do not know. I was farming here just now, and suddenly this thing appeared in the sky. Kainana said with some worry after hearing Macau's words. She didn't know why such a huge golden door suddenly appeared in the air. Not waiting for everyone present to continue to be surprised, something even more surprising came out, and there were a few people who appeared from the golden door. One of them looks very familiar to them. Urza. Looking at Irene holding Urza in her arms, everyone shouted out in surprise and surprise. Kindness? The surprised shouts of the Fairy Tale crowd made Lin Yan, Irene and Anna stunned for a while. You know Urza? Lin Yan looked at Kainana and the Fairy Tale behind Kainana with narrowed eyes, and asked curiously, Urza is only 3 years old, so I don't know you guys. This is my wife, Irene Dragunov. While talking, Lin Yan hugged Urza in Irene's arms. Lin Yan could naturally see that the Fairy Tale people were calling Urza at Irene, so Lin Yan reminded them through this action that the one he was holding was called Urza. And, since the name Urza was called to Irene, it means one thing, everyone in Fairy Tale should have indeed seen what Urza looks like when he grows up. Yes, yes. Urza doesn't know you. Urza nodded in agreement after hearing Lin Yan's words in Lin Yan's arms. A full 10 looks like a little adult. Is this Urza? Well, maybe we got the wrong person. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Macau said hesitantly, your lady is very similar to a member of our guild. She is an S-rank mage of our guild, Urza Netwoka. It's been almost 7 years since it disappeared, so when we saw your lady, we couldn't help crying out. I'm really sorry for disturbing you. As the voice fell, Macau hurriedly gathered in front of Lin Yan and others. From the way Lin Yan and the others appeared just now, Macau knew that none of Lin Yan and the others were simple. Not far away, a half-sized boy dressed a bit like Natsu, the hero of the original novel, looked impatient when he saw Macau, who was bowing to Lin Yan and the others. This is Macau's son, Romeo Conbolt. The setting in the original book is to worship Natsu very much, and now it seems that he is very dissatisfied with his father's servile appearance. By the way, Lin Yan vaguely felt the aura of the small universe on Romeo's body. It is estimated that in 2 years, Romeo should be able to successfully develop a small universe and become a Saint CE reserve. Chapter 64. It's okay, it's not a big deal. You mean, the Urza you know, whose full name is Urza Netwoka. Lin Yan looked at Macau who was bowing to him again and waved his hand indifferently. Compared with Macau's bowing itself, Lin Yan is more concerned about the current situation of Fairy Tale. It's fine if you haven't met it, but now that you've met it, take a little time to understand what the current Fairy Tale is like. If I remember correctly, Lin Yan remembers that the Fairy Queen Urza in the original book is Scarlet, and the Urza surnamed Netwoka should be the world of Edelas. In the original book, he is the enemy of the Fairy Tale Guild in the Edelas world, and serves as the captain of the second demon clan in the Edelas kingdom, known as the Goblin Hunter. That's right, the Urza we know is Urza Netwoka. The weapon she uses is the Tenji spear, and she has superb spear skills. Even among S-class mages, she is among the best, and she is a graduate of the Saint Seiya Academy. If a small universe breaks out, even the legendary 10 wizard saints may not be easy to win. Not far from Macau's son, Romeo jumped over immediately after hearing Lin Yan's question. Because he grew up in the Fairy Tale Guild since he was a child, Romeo quite admired those very powerful characters in Fairy Tale, and Urza, who used the 10 commandments, was among them. Is it so powerful? To be honest, my wife, Irene, and Anna were just born into this world. Lin Yan looked at Romeo who introduced Urza Netwoka to himself excitedly and said with a smile, if you don't mind, can you invite me to sit in your guild? Take a little rest, of course, I will not be stingy with the reward. As he spoke, Lin Yan snapped his fingers and had a few more gold coins in his hand. This is the standard gold coin of the Dragonov Kingdom. Although after 400 years, the Dragonov Kingdom may have disappeared, but if you want to come to gold, it is valuable no matter what era. Of course, no problem. Anyway, our guild usually has nothing to do. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Macau said quickly, the money is no longer needed. It is too expensive to give gold coins directly. If you drink some drinks and eat some food, it won't cost you a few dollars. Come here, please. If you have any questions you want to ask, feel free to ask. If I know, I will definitely answer. I have to say, what Macau does is quite good looking. Although Lin Yan did not reveal anything scary from beginning to end, whether it was Lin Yan or Irene or Anna behind Lin Yan, there seemed to be nothing special. However, Macau has just concluded through the extraordinary golden door that Lin Yan, Anna, and Irene are not simple characters. And the first shot is gold coins, so rich, must be a big man. If Levy, who had disappeared for many years, appeared here at this time, he would be very shocked to find that the gold coin in Lin Yan's hand was not a simple gold coin. It is the gold coin of the Dragonov Kingdom, which was destroyed 400 years ago. What is precious is definitely not the value of the gold coin itself, but the value of other aspects. Because in less than 20 years after Lin Yan left, the kingdom of Dragonov and the kingdom of Heartfilia were completely destroyed by the battle against the dragons. Therefore, the gold coins of the Dragonov Kingdom are very commemorative. A gold coin from the kingdom of Dragonov is at least 100 times more valuable than an ordinary gold coin, and even has no market value. Once it was 5 times the market price, there was no way to purchase the gold coins from the kingdom of Dragonov. According to Lin Yan's vision, the gold coins of the Dragonov Kingdom are all equipped with anti-counterfeiting functions, so there is no possibility of counterfeiting. The gold coins of the kingdom of Heartfilia are the same, they have no market value. The next thing naturally became simpler. Lin Yan took Irene and Anna, followed by Kainana and Macau to the current Fairy Tale Guild Hall. As soon as he entered the door, Lin Yan's eyes suddenly lit up. Although the Fairy Tale Guild Hall was a bit shabby, the LCD TV on the wall came into Lin Yan's line of sight for the first time. Lin Yan can be sure that there is absolutely no LCD TV in this time period in the original book. Chapter 65. What is this thing? Lin Yan looked at the LCD TV hanging on the dilapidated wall, and the expression on his face was a little excited. Although Lin Yan had already made various arrangements 400 years ago, Lin Yan was still a little excited when what he expected appeared within his sight. Now that things like LCD TVs have appeared, then things like magic networks have also appeared. Anna and Irene on the side looked at Lin Yan in surprise. I have been with Lin Yan for a few years, but I rarely see Lin Yan's expression like this. In the past, Lin Yan had an air of salted fish all over his body, and his face was full of boring expressions, which Irene used to see often on those people in the slums. Sometimes Irene is also a little curious why there is such an expression on Lin Yan's face. This is magic TV. We usually go to watch movies or something when we have nothing to do. Don't look at the fact that it doesn't seem to be used much now, but in the past, around this magic TV, everyone would make a big fuss every day. Kainana explained with a smile after hearing Lin Yan's words. As he spoke, he used magic to turn the switch on the TV and the magic sensor on. In the past, when the main force of the Fairy Tale Guild was still there, they would fight every day because of things like grabbing TV channels, which was very lively. It is not used much now, and a layer of dust has accumulated on the TV. Is that so? So. Yeah, Today is a little different than usual, Macau. Before Lin Yan could finish speaking, Fairy Tale's already dilapidated door was pushed open by 5 figures full of ruffians. One of the leaders glanced at Lin Yan, then turned his attention to Macau and sneered, I really didn't expect that there would still be guests coming to a shabby guild like yours. These 5 people are the debt collectors of the Twilight Ghost. This time, I came to Fairy Tale naturally to collect the money Fairy Tale owed. Oh. Lin Yan thoughtfully looked at the 5 ruffian figures standing at the door. Although the world has changed a lot, it seems that there are not many things that have changed. In Lin Yan's impression, the Ghost of the Dusk is the new guild of Fairy Tale in Megunoria that quickly rose to replace Fairy Tale after losing the main team in the original book. The main business scope of the guild is lending and collection. But thinking about it this way, Lin Yan came to a sudden realization. Since the main business is lending and collection, then it is unexpected to do the cage and do the game. Fairy Tale, such a soft persimmon, is indeed a very good target. Thinking of this, it was inevitable that Fairy Tail would be trapped by the Ghost of Dusk. Dibbo! What are you doing here? We at Fairy Tail don't welcome you. Macau looked at the wizard headed by the Ghost of Twilight, and his brows were deeply wrinkled. The reason why Fairy Tail has fallen to the current level has a huge relationship with the Ghosts of the Dusk, if not for being trapped by the Ghosts of Dusk. Although Fairy Tail may decline because there is no main force, it is impossible to fall to the bottom of today, almost to the extent of closing the door to the end. The reason why the Ghost of Twilight was able to replace Fairy Tail in Magnolia was because of the official cramps against the Fairy Tail Guild. Hey, Macau! How can you talk to us like this? Our Ghost of the Dusk is your savior. Dibbo, the wizard who took the lead, laughed lightly after hearing Macau's words, and said, if it wasn't for us, the Ghosts of Twilight, who lent you money, you would have closed down 5 years ago. Damn it! If it wasn't for the fact that you secretly tricked us, we, Fairy Tail, wouldn't say anything to you guys. Looking at the stern expression on Dibbo's face, Macau just gritted his teeth. Although the situation was a bit tense back then, Macau did not have to ask the Ghost of Twilight to borrow money. After all, Fairy Tail's connections were there. If it was really difficult, it would not be a problem to borrow money from the Blue Pegasus Guild, the Four Dogs Guild, or a few other guilds that had a good relationship with Makarov. The main reason is that the Ghost of the Dusk came to the door, and Macau was a bit of a face. Fairy Tail has been awesome for so many years. If possible, Macau does not want to borrow money from people who have a good relationship with Fairy Tail. The Ghost of Twilight has grasped the psychology of Macau and made Fairy Tail walk into the abyss step by step. Hey, you can stop talking nonsense. What is our Twilight Ghost trying to do to you? Our Twilight Ghost is notoriously innocent. Before Macau could finish speaking, Dibbo interrupted Macau with a grim smile and said, if we don't welcome us, it's fine, and I don't want to come to your poor place. Give us back the money for this month and we'll be leaving right away. Chapter 66. Asshole! Didn't we just return the money to you a few days ago? Macau looked a little ugly when she saw Dibbo. Less than a week ago, Macau tightened his belt and paid back the interest from the previous month. As a result, it was only the beginning of the month, and it was not a few days before the last payment, and he came to ask for the debt again. This is clearly to find fault and trouble. I can't help it either. We are here to implement the decisions made by the president of our guild. Seeing the ugly expression on Macau's face, Dibbo spread his hands indifferently and said, besides, you paid last month's money a few days ago, and I'm coming to you now to ask for this month's money. It's common. We have no money to pay you back now. This month's money, you can come and ask for it again at the end of the month. After Macau heard Dibbo's words, she took a deep breath. Last month, Macau was very reluctant to pay it back, let alone this month. It is impossible to take out the money and return it to the Ghost of Dusk. Therefore, in the face of the request of the Ghost of Twilight, Macau could only refuse. Even Macau knew that the consequence of not paying back the money would be to be smashed by Dibbo and the others. In fact, this is indeed the case. After hearing that there is no money in Macau, the expressions on the faces of several debt collectors headed by Dibbo changed immediately. The next thing will naturally become simpler. The Ghost of Twilight Debt Collection 5 directly followed the old rules and began to fight in the Fairy Tail Guild. These are old rules. Fairy Tail Guild is so broken, it has nothing to do with the 5 debt collectors from the Twilight Ghost who often come to make trouble. Because Fairy Tail is in the wrong, it has always been bullied by the Ghosts of Twilight. Of course, the Ghost of Twilight Debt Collection group was only able to do this. Fairy Tail was at a loss, so they didn't resist much. However, once the Ghost of Twilight made a real move, let alone Blue Pegasus and Lamia Scale, the guilds that Fairy Tail had always had a good relationship with would not watch. Just the existing members of the Fairy Tail Guild can take down the debt collection quintet. 7 years ago, the existing members of Fairy Tail had the strength of B-rank mages, and now, after 7 years, even if they did not have the strength of A-rank mages, they were almost the same. Bang bang bang! The few seats left in the Fairy Tail Guild Hall were all smashed, and the only thing left was the table where Lin Yan and Irene were sitting now. Because Lin Yan, Irene, and Anna are not members of the Fairy Tail Guild, the Twilight Ghosts debt collecting group of 5 did not bother Lin Yan and others. However, when only Lin Yan's side was left, Dibbo subconsciously glanced at Lin Yan and others, and then Urza was attracted to him. In the end, his eyes were fixed on the gold coins that Urza was constantly playing with. As the debt collector of the Twilight Ghost, Dibbo's strength may not be very good, but there is absolutely no problem in his eyes. It is the basic quality to distinguish the value of the items owned by the debtor. Therefore, Dibbo recognized it at a glance. Urza was playing with the priceless gold coin of the Kingdom of Dragonov, and it seemed that it was a gold coin of the Kingdom of Dragonov in quite good condition. Ordinary gold coins are worth about 100,000 J. The collection value of gold coins in the Kingdom of Dragonov is extremely high. The market price is more than 1 million J, and there is no market for it. 5 times the market price of 5 million J may not necessarily be received. The all-out war with the dragons 400 years ago almost broke the world, and not many gold coins of the Dragonov kingdom have been handed down. At that time, if you sell it at 10 times the market price, it will definitely not be a big problem to sell it for 10 million J. 10 million J, this is not a small amount. Even if it is an S-level mission, it needs the most dangerous to get the reward of 10 million J. Many of them even belong to the 10-year mission level. P.S. The 10-year mission means that no one has completed it in 10 years, and the 100-year mission is also a meaning. Faced with this temptation, Dibbo has made his own decision. I'm going to take the gold coins from the Dragonov kingdom on Lin Yan's side, at the price of ordinary gold coins, and treat it as a repayment from the Fairy Tale Guild. Hey, Macau, isn't this rich? Such a golden coin can be worth 100,000 J anyway. Dibbo looked at the gold coins that Urza was playing with his fingers and said with a smile, since they are in your guild, they should be the reward for entrusting you with the task. I will collect this in advance as your interest. While talking, Dibbo walked towards Lin Yan with the mace in his hand. After coming to Lin Yan and others, he didn't say much about writing, he just stretched out his hand to grab the highly valuable gold coin in Urza's hand. Looking at the scene in front of him, Lin Yan's eyes narrowed slightly. I have to say that some people's life is not long, but they still like to take shortcuts. Chapter 67. Hey! Dibbo! The fairy tale thing has nothing to do with them. After Macau heard Dibbo's words, her expression suddenly changed. In a hurry, he was ready to organize Dibbo. In the heart of Macau, who saw Lin Yan and others appear in special effects, the danger of Lin Yan and others definitely belonged to S level. Now Dibbo is targeting Lin Yan and others, and something will definitely happen. Boom! In fact, it is exactly as Macau thought. Macau's voice had just fallen, and with a roar, Dibbo knelt down abruptly as if he had been attacked by something. A pair of knees sank deep into the slightly worn floor of the Fairy Tale Guild. Everyone present was a magician, and their 5 senses were relatively sharp, and they could clearly hear the dense, heart-pounding sound of bones shattering from Dibbo's knees. It hurts, forgive me, I don't dare. Ah! Dibbo let out a shrill scream without any hesitation. Compared with most other wizards, he has never fought against monsters, and has always been a debt collector. Dibbo does not have a strong will. At this moment, Dibbo felt an unprecedented remorse in his heart. I regret that I was blinded by lard. How could the person who owns the gold coins of the Kingdom of Dragonov be a simple guy? Looking at the current state, if he can suppress himself as a B-rank mage like this, at least he has the strength of an A-rank mage. Dibbo just passed the certification of a B-class mage last month, and it's not enough to swell. Unlike in the original book, where A-level walks all over the ground and B-level is not as good as a dog, in the real fairy tale world, B-level wizards are actually already a very powerful level. Among many wizards guilds, B-rank wizards can be regarded as the backbone. Even in this fairy tale world, under the influence of Lin Yan, with the tier 1 to 6 magic system of the Great Tomb of Nazarick and the power system of the Sanctuary Saints, it is not garbage. Unfortunately, Dibbo is facing Lin Yan. Lin Yan, who has already relied on Krypton Gold to make his Great Tomb of Nazarick reach level, has world-class equipment in his body, and has his own custom-made golden clothes. Now the one who can stabilize Lin Yan's head is Athena after the awakening. If Lin Yan is willing to continue to kryptonite gold, he can completely transfer Athena's small universe to himself and directly defy the sky. The gap between Dibbo and Lin Yan is no longer something that can be simply acted upon using the dimensional gap. After feeling the horror of Lin Yan, Dibbo wanted to ask for mercy. When it comes to the experience of iron plates, Dibbo is not without experience. Basically, Dibbo can stand up and kneel down, and there has been no major incident. However, this time Dibbo has completely overturned the car. Facing the endless pain, Dibbo has absolutely no strength left, only the strength to scream. How to do? This guy doesn't seem to be easy to mess with, he's a ruthless guy. The boss's legs are probably going to be abolished. On the other side, the remaining 4 debt collection wizards of the Ghost of Twilight saw the scene in front of them, and their faces also showed expressions of fear, and they shattered their bones when they came up. They were indeed ruthless. What else can I do? The boss is a B-rank magician, and the boss is killed in seconds. What use are we C-rank magicians? Call someone. Even an A-rank mage has to respectfully admit his counsel in the face of the Magic Council. With such a heavy hand, let's bribe some more money, at least let this guy go in and squat for a year. Without any hesitation, they chose to contact Magnolia's monitoring team, affiliated with the Magic Council, directly. The ghosts of the dusk can be arrogant for so many years and violently collect collections all day long. Naturally, it is a bit related. There is no black and white in the world. The vast majority of people, their color is a mixture of black and white gray. Please, please. Don't kill me, I was wrong, I really didn't mean it. Dibbo was barely used to the constant pain at this time. The desire to survive made Dibbo forcibly stop screaming and began to beg Lin Yan. Dibbo, who had just become a B-rank mage, didn't want to explain his destined glorious life to this dilapidated guild. Even if the Guild of the Ghost of Twilight avenged itself, it wouldn't make any sense. Lin Yan sneered when he saw Dibbo, who was begging for mercy with the pain, then snapped his fingers, and a gold coin that was exactly the same as Urza's hand appeared in his hand. A gold coin of the Kingdom of Dragonov with great collectible value. And this scene directly made Dibbo stunned, and then his heart began to sink continuously. If this coin in Lin Yan's hand is also a real gold coin from the Kingdom of Dragonov. So today I really kicked a huge iron plate. I am afraid that even the president of the Ghost of Twilight will not protect himself. Thinking of this, a look of fear appeared on Dibbo's face. Chapter 68. Not on purpose. I think you did it on purpose just now. Ignoring the desperate expression on Dibbo's face, Lin Yan played with the gold coin in his hand and said with a smile, "The way you looked at this thing just now was very interesting. This thing is very valuable." Lin Yan had a panoramic view of Dibbo's expression just now. He never took his eyes off the gold coin in Urza's hand. Needless to say, he knew what Dibbo was doing. It was obvious that the gold coin had far more value than itself. By the way, before Lin Yan started, he set up a miniature illusion magic for Liu Ju and Urza, so as not to scare them. Yes, very valuable. It's all my fault that I was greedy for profit just now. I won't dare to do it again in the future, please forgive me. At this time, Dibbo can almost be said to have lost the ability to think, and only knows to beg for mercy. After all, the gravitational magic that Lin Yan has cast on Dibbo has never ended. Forest. Kainana, stop talking. The next thing is not something we can participate in. Kainana looked at the scene in front of her and was ready to say something. Although the 5 debt collectors of the Twilight Ghost did something a little too much, Lin Yan's current behavior is actually too much in Kainana's eyes. As everyone knows, in Lin Yan, as long as he does not kill people, it is already the greatest kindness. Macau, who had long known that Lin Yan and others were not simple guys, naturally wouldn't let Kainana speak. Before Kainana could finish speaking, he pulled Kainana aside. Compared with Kainana, who is still a little confused, Macau is more aware of the current situation. Lin Yan struck too hard. 400 years ago, Lin Yan consciously moved the social system closer to technology. In today's era, magic and technology will be combined, and the legal system has become very perfect. Lin Yan's behavior can be said to be very serious. The Ghost of Twilight only needs a little operation to let Lin Yan go to the Magic Council's prison for a few years, and judging from Lin Yan's decisive qualities, Macau does not think that Lin Yan will be a person who can easily be captured. Just now, Macau has seen that the debt collection wizards of the other 4 Twilight Ghosts are contacting the Magic Council, and the next thing is not something that people like me can participate in. What kind of character Lin Yan is, it is not something that Macau can figure out in a short time. Macau has been operating Fairy Tail carefully for 7 years, and really has no intention of taking care of anything other than Fairy Tail. Even if you want to manage it, you don't have the ability to manage it. The current Fairy Tail is no longer the Fairy Tail it used to be. Lin Yan didn't pay attention to what was going on in Macau. The reason why I came to Fairy Tail to sit here is that the first and biggest point is feelings. When chasing Fairy Tail, Lin Yan was more or less longing for the life in Fairy Tail. Then it is to understand how different the current era is from the era in my memory. Now it seems that the difference is still very big. For example, Urza from the original Edala's world came to this world and replaced his daughter Urza's original position, becoming the Lancer Urza. I don't know if the law of the lucky E of the spearman is still counted. While Lin Yan was pondering, Dibbo, the B-level wizard of the Ghost of Twilight, couldn't bear the pain that kept coming like a tidal wave, and passed out with foaming at the mouth. Murder is definitely not possible. Lin Yan seldom kills, and usually uses the limbs of the disabled. Injuring people's lives is against the heavens. Lin Yan usually refuses to do it if he can. As for whether it is better to die than life for the rest of his life, it is not within Lin Yan's consideration. Generally speaking, those who offend Lin Yan are not good people. Bold madman. Actually committed the murder in broad daylight, why don't you stop quickly? Don't wait for Lin Yan to act. In the distance, a young man with eyes and a pure white uniform with a large number of troops behind him caught Lin Yan's attention. Looking at Lin Yan, the young man who had already learned the general situation from the remaining 4 debt collectors of the Ghost of Twilight through magical communication did not hesitate at all, and just picked a hat for Lin Yan. Well, actually, it doesn't count as a hat, the young man is indeed right, Lin Yan is indeed preparing to commit murder in broad daylight. 2 gold coins from the Kingdom of Dragonov. This is a good thing. I heard that a member of parliament likes this kind of thing very much and has been accepting it. We have to find a way to get the gold coins from the Dragonov kingdom. The young man in the pure white uniform looked at the golden coin in Lin Yan's hand, and a bright smile appeared on his face. He'd never done something like this before. As the captain of the monitoring team affiliated to the Magic Council, he can be said to be the Emperor of the Earth, the most violent organization of violence in Megunoria. Chapter 69. As for why the Magic Council's monitoring team was able to come so quickly, it was naturally due to Lin Yan's credit. With the Magic Network, the Magic Council's response was much faster. In addition, the headquarters of the Fairy Tale Guild itself is on the side of Magnolia, so after receiving the alarm from the Twilight Ghost debt collection sorcerer, he calls the police immediately. It takes about a minute to complete the calculation before and after. In this era of magic with an explosive sense of technology, it is not a trivial matter for A-level mages to make trouble. The power system of the Great Tomb of Nazarick and the small universe power system of the Sanctuary Saints have greatly increased the average combat power of the fairy tale world. Plus Lin Yan's philosophy left behind 400 years ago. In this day and age, things like fighting are still very strictly controlled. Lin Yan has not yet enjoyed the convenience of his original layout in the era 400 years later, and he has already begun to enjoy the evil consequences of the original layout. A madman. Let's just say it. Lin Yan looked at the captain of the inspection team in front of him, and at Dibbo, who had passed out due to broken bones at his feet, but he did not deny it. In a sense, he can indeed be called a madman. However, Lin Yan looked at the supervising team captain who seemed to be righteous in front of him. Lin Yan could also clearly see the greed in the eyes of the supervising team captain just now. If there is no accident, it is estimated that he is also interested in the gold coins of the Kingdom of Dragonov in his hand, just like the B-rank magician named Dibbo under his feet. The crows in the world are really black. When reading the original book, Lin Yan didn't have a good impression of the Magic Council anymore. He couldn't do anything. He was the first to eat ashes, and he always arrived at the scene after the event was over. There is no credit at all, but the spectrum is quite large. It's fine if you admit it. Now I will imprison you according to the regulations of the security law, and you must not resist. I'm the captain of the inspection team affiliated with the Magic Council, Barrett. The captain of the inspection team, Barrett, smiled when he saw Lin Yan admit his guilt so decisively, and said, "If you resist, I have the right to force you to be imprisoned by force. Once this is the case, the final conviction will be one more guilt." When it comes to the Magic Council's custody department, it's completely Barrett's world. At that time, the 2 highly collectible gold coins of the Dragonov kingdom on Lin Yan's body were not arranged casually by Barrett. As a favor, I gave it to the senators in the Magic Council, and secretly took it away and disposed of it myself. Not to mention 10 million J, 8 million J would be no problem. As the captain of the No. 1 violence organization, Barrett did a lot of things like this. Barrett, a member of the powerful Sorcerer Guild, naturally would not provoke them. For example, Fairy Tale, who was at his peak 7 years ago, had 10 wizard saints and several S-rank wizards. But if it's the current Fairy Tale, that's fine. Thinking of this, the smile on Barrett's face couldn't be concealed more and more. After all, it was 10 million J. After so many years, Barrett was worth only 5 or 6 million J. It was impossible to watch it here, and even Barrett had an idea in his heart inexplicably. After finishing this vote, wash your hands. However, the next scene immediately made Barrett's expression ugly. Since they are all madmen. Could it be that Captain Barrett thinks that there are still madmen in this world who can be captured without a hand? If you want to imprison me, I'm afraid I still have to use force to imprison me. Lin Yan chuckled lightly when he looked at Barrett, the captain of the inspection team, then turned to look in the direction of Macau and the others, and said, "By the way, this is the reward for you to come here as a guest. Looking at their appearance, this gold coin should be very valuable, so don't be fooled." After finishing speaking, Lin Yan just took the gold coin in his hand and flicked it at the position of Macau. The gold coin, which was favored by the captain of the monitoring team, Barrett, fell into the hands of Macau, who was blindsided. The golden coin shone dazzlingly under the bright light. For a time, Macau is not accepted, nor is it not accepted. Isn't Macau a layman? Through the performances of Superintendent Team Captain Barrett and Debt Collection Wizard Dibbo, Macau has already seen that the value of this gold coin is probably extraordinary. As long as we can take it for ourselves and act decisively, the economic crisis that the Fairy Tale Guild is currently facing may be solved at once. Maybe you can save a lot of money to decorate the guild and even recruit members. Macau, who has dedicated his whole life to fairy tale, really wants fairy tale to bloom again with the dazzling light it was 7 years ago. But, is this money really that easy to get? This gold coin is obviously a hot potato. Macau's expression at this time was extremely complicated, and the words of Barrett, the captain of the monitoring team, confirmed this. Chapter 70. President Macau. This thing is stolen goods, and you will hand it over to our Magic Council Supervision Department later. Without any hesitation, Barrett directly defined the gold coins of the Dragonov Kingdom in Macau's hands as stolen goods. Basically, such a definition would mark the thing as the Ministry of Supervision. Not much different from what was already a Barrett. At most, it will be kept in Macau's hands for a while. Barrett believes that Macau will make a smart choice. Really interesting. When did my own things become swag? Lin Yan didn't look back. Barrett, the captain of the supervisory team who directly defined the gold coins of the Dragonov Kingdom in Macau's hands as stolen goods, didn't change his face. Isn't it, you want to take my gold coins as your own in the name of stolen goods? The 7th Monitoring Team, Act. Give the target a forced prisoner by force. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Barrett's expression suddenly changed. No longer give Lin Yan any chance to speak, just prepare to let the 7th Monitoring Team led by him act, and directly put Lin Yan into prison by force. Originally, Barrett was not prepared to act so quickly. After all, Lin Yan did not have 1 gold coin from the Dragonov Kingdom, but 2. In any case, I have to explore Lin Yan's background a little before deciding whether to do it or not, but Lin Yan is so disrespectful that he comes up and says that he wants to take the stolen goods for himself. Then Barrett will stop beeping with Lin Yan. Even if there is a background? Barrett came from the background of the Magic Council. No matter how big his background was, he was no bigger than the Magic Council, the biggest violent institution on the entire road. As Barrett's voice fell, the members of the 7th Monitoring Team behind Barrett immediately acted quickly, and a huge light blue magic circle appeared at Lin Yan's feet. Everyone knows that the strategic weapon in the Magic Council is magic wizard power. It is because of the magic power that can shock the world that the Magic Council has its current status. But it is very obvious that the power of the magic wizard is at most used as a thing to scare people. Usually, the subordinate troops still have to rely on their own strength to monitor the Wizards Guild in each city. In the nearly 100-year history of making a fortune, Magic Council has developed various relics of the old era, which is much stronger than the Magic Council that Lin Yan knows. For example, if Tartaros in the original book wanted to destroy the Magic Council, it would be a bit of a dream. Magic similar to the eyes of the sky is everywhere. As long as Tartaros dares to appear, the end will not be much better. Magic sharing magic means that the Magic Council is based in the world, except for the biggest contributor to the magic power. As the name suggests, magic sharing magic is magic that allows magicians who practice the same kind of magic to gather magic power together. Perhaps the members of the Magic Council are weak if they are singled out. Maybe not even a B-rank mage. However, once a huge scale is formed, and the magic power is gathered together through magic power sharing, then its strength will be enhanced geometrically. For example, Barrett's 7th inspection team has about 1,000 C-rank mages. When using magic power sharing magic, the combat power will soar directly to the level of A-rank mages. Even stronger than the average A-level wizard. Interesting. Your magic power is actually gathered together. Is this the power of the army? Lin Yan looked at the huge magic circle emerging under his feet, thoughtfully and a little surprised. It was just a small monitoring team affiliated with the Magic Council, and Lin Yan was a little surprised by what they showed. It seems that it is impossible to evaluate the current Magic Council based on the understanding of the original work. Or, worthy of the Magic Council. Although the strength of the high level is very crap, but the background itself is quite scary. Always be able to come up with enough technology to change the pattern of a world. In the original book, there are magic wizard power, White Legacy Philippine, and now there is magic sharing magic. The light of the magic circle under Lin Yan's feet became stronger and stronger, and the light blue light directly turned into a huge beam of light that shot into the sky, which contained the huge magic power of thousands of mages. After feeling that Lin Yan was not very sensible, Barrett wanted to quickly put Lin Yan in custody to see if Lin Yan had any background. Without some background, Barrett is more than just money. Looking at Irene and Anna behind Lin Yan, Barrett's eyes showed a wicked look. Although they had children, Irene and Anna were still young and beautiful. Seeing this scene, Lin Yan's face naturally darkened instantly. Looks like you're thinking about something bad again. Did being a member of the Magic Council give you huge confidence? Give me, kneel down. Chapter 71. The domination spell is activated instantly. As Lin Yan's voice fell, all the members of the 7th inspection team, including the captain of the 7th inspection team Barrett, all knelt down at this moment, and their movements were uniform. A sound like shattering glass rang out. The originally pale blue, huge beam of light that shot straight into the sky also shattered in an instant. How can that be? Looking at the scene in front of him, Barrett, who was kneeling on the ground, had an expression of disbelief on his face. Barrett never thought that his 7th monitoring team was so vulnerable in front of Lin Yan, and it was just a moment of effort, and it was completely crushed by Lin Yan. This time, it seems to have hit the iron plate. It's just that before Barrett could continue to think about it, a huge gravitational force suddenly appeared on his body. Barrett's knees glanced at the previous dibbo, and made a series of dense sounds, which made people feel some heart-pounding bones-shattering sounds. Ah! Nothing is impossible. It now seems that if you want to force me into prison, it may be a little mean. Lin Yan looked at Barrett who was screaming in front of him, and said with a smile, by the way, let me introduce myself, my name is Lin Yan, and you are welcome to put a reward on me. It's just that, now that it's in my hands, I'm afraid your end will not be much better. As he said, Lin Yan put one foot on Barrett's palm and crushed it directly. Under normal circumstances, Lin Yan rarely does it himself. After all, Lin Yan is usually a salty fish. If he can't move by himself, then he won't move by himself. Including when interacting with Irene and Anna. It's just, this time is different. After all, Barrett directly touched something Lin Yan couldn't tolerate. If Dibbo was just took AI and didn't think of other ideas, Lin Yan could spare his life and cut off his limbs as punishment, then Barrett's words would be fine. Thinking of this, Lin Yan's eyes became cold and he snapped his fingers. A man with a height of about 180 centimeters and a slightly oriental face appeared in front of Lin Yan. This is one of Lin Yan's think tanks, Demiurge. Lord Lin Yan. Demiurge looked at the surrounding scene and was a little stunned, but he came back to his senses immediately, and immediately bowed slightly to Lin Yan, and said, I don't know what you told me to come out. It is my great honor to be able to help Mr. Lin Yan. Nothing special either. Please send this guy to the intelligence investigator. Lin Yan looked at Barrett who had fainted from pain and said with a smile, I'm not very good at interrogation. Let the intelligence investigator interrogate it properly. It is a small gift from me. Otherwise, as an intelligence investigator, it would be too boring to have no interrogation object. Sir Lin Yan, you are so kind. I think Narast will be very happy. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Demiurge said with a smile, then, Lord Lin Yan, and the two mistresses, I will leave first. After that, Demiurge bowed slightly in the direction of Lin Yan, Irene, and Anna, and directly pulled Barrett, who had passed out, into a coma and disappeared from everyone's sight. From beginning to end, Demiurge didn't even look at the others around him. Along with Lin Yan's series of actions, the surroundings suddenly fell into absolute silence. After all, judging from Lin Yan's series of operations, Lin Yan's combat power is at least an S-level mage, which is terrifying, and he's still the kind of ruthless man who strikes hard. All right. I guess it doesn't make sense to keep taking it down, so I'll withdraw first. Lin Yan glanced at the fairy tale who was hiding and said with a smile, then, see you by fate. As Lin Yan's voice fell, Lin Yan, Irene, Anna and others just disappeared from everyone's sight. With the disappearance of Lin Yan, the effects of the ruling spells on the members of the 7th Inspection Team also disappeared with the disappearance of Lin Yan. The vice-captain of the 7th Inspection Team, looking at the scene in front of him, hesitated for a while, but still reported the matter here truthfully. After all, Barrett, the captain of the 7th Monitoring Team, is estimated to be less fortunate. In this era, an accident with the captain of a supervisory team is not a trivial matter. In the kingdom of Fiori, there is a powerful magic factor fluctuation in Magnolia. After a comparative analysis of its magical properties, it should belong to the 7th Inspection Team of Magnolia. Magic Council Headquarters, in the Speaker's office. The current speaker, Gulan, received the relevant information. Looking at the data, Gulan shook his head helplessly. Really? How come even the magic power sharing magic is used? Wait for a good training. Saying that, Speaker Gulan was about to put away the report. Chapter 72. Occasionally, there will indeed be some A-level mages who do not obey the discipline and make trouble. Therefore, for this kind of report, Speaker Gulan generally just glanced at it casually. The Magic Council is a violent organization that monitors the entire continent. There are not many things like this every day, but they are not too few. Speaker Gulan is actually used to it. It's just that he can't wait for any action from Speaker Gulan. The second report was sent to Koran quickly, and this report was very simple. Just a personal report from the vice-captain of the Magnolia 7th Inspectorate. The enemy's strength is too strong, at least at the level of an S-rank magician. Its magic is very special. With a single order, everyone was bound by an inexplicable force and forced to kneel down without any resistance. The 7th Monitoring Unit failed to work under the condition of using the magic power sharing magic, and it was completely defeated. The enemy is extremely vicious, and I hope the headquarters will deal with it quickly and seriously. I don't know if Barrett, the captain of the 7th Monitoring Team, is alive or dead. How can that be? Looking at the personal report from the vice-captain of the 7th Monitoring Team in his hand, Speaker Gulan's expression instantly became ugly, and things became a little worse since then. It has been a long time since I was so bold, dared to resist the law enforcement of the Magic Council, and even let the leader of the monitoring team affiliated to the Magic Council know the life and death of something happened. The other side. After Lin Yan left, what happened on Lin Yan's side began to spread like crazy. The leader of the Magic Council's 7th Inspection Team, Barrett, did not know whether he was alive or dead, and the news that the entire 7th Inspection Team was completely defeated spread quickly like wings. Magic Council, as a worldwide organization, can definitely be said to be the top in terms of strength. Although there is almost no top-level combat power under direct control, the combined strength of the magician army it controls is definitely greater than that of most magician guilds. Otherwise, in the original book, the Dark Wizards Guild would not be like a mouse crossing the street, hiding everywhere. Even the Balam Alliance, the final choice is dormant. Not to mention, the current Magic Council is much stronger than the original. Magic shared magic, more or less made up for the lack of the Magic Council in the top combat power, and finally added the shocking magic weapon Magic Wizard power, and there is now the ruling Magic Council. No one has dared to rebel against the Magic Council like this for many years. Even the Fairy Tale Guild, which used to be the most danceable, was a group of cowards when they met the Magic Council. And now, the 7th Monitoring Team of the Magic Council was instantly defeated by a strange powerhouse, and the captain of the 7th Monitoring Team, Barrett, was still in a state of life and death. This is tantamount to an absolute provocation for the Magic Council. How many years has no one dared to provoke the Magus Council like this? The last time he dared to do this seemed to be the Phantom Lord 7 years ago, and even the Phantom Lord only went to war with Fairy Tale and did not dare to engage with the Magic Council head-on. The Phantom Lord's grave grass is probably 3 feet tall now. Just like adding fuel to the fire, the matter of the Magic Council being provoked by an unknown powerhouse has been discussed by many people. As the most powerful force on the surface, the Magic Council itself is one of the focuses of the world. The shock caused by the news of the return of the main team of Fairy Tail was nothing compared to the fact that Lin Yan provoked and killed the captain of the 7th supervisory team of the Magic Council. It was like a drop of water dropped into the sea, causing an extremely tiny circle of ripples, and then calmed down again, as if nothing had happened. In this regard, it is naturally impossible for the Magic Council not to respond. Because of what happened on the side of Magnolia, the Magic Council also held an unprecedented serious meeting. However, because of the lack of control over key information, the Magic Council is also at a loss, and Fairy Tail does not have so-called monitoring. And Lin Yan, Irene, and Enna are not people of this era. Although they describe their appearance, it is obviously a bit of a fool to want to catch someone quickly. Few people go back and deliberately observe the appearance of the people on the wanted list, especially those ordinary people. Compared with the number of mages, most of the people in this world are actually ordinary people with no special strength. There is a sense that this kind of thing will eventually come to an end. If Lin Yan doesn't do anything more, it may really be over like this. The Magic Council is also a little hesitant, whether it really costs a lot of money to search Lin Yan. At the same time, in the Fairy Tail Guild. At this time, it has been almost a week since the day when Lin Yan slipped away. When the 7 years are up, the main team of Fairy Tail, which has been closed, will naturally return. Levy. Have you found out the source of this gold coin? Macau looked at the gold coin of the Kingdom of Dragonov that Lin Yan was giving, and the light blue-haired girl who frantically looked up the information asked curiously. The man said this gold coin is very valuable. The captain of the 7th inspection team and Dibbo are greedy because of this. So, I think, maybe I can sell this gold coin to repay the debt. Originally, Macau thought that the gold coin that Lin Yan gave to himself, good money Zhao, was a hot potato. Because Macau doesn't think Fairy Tail without the main team can keep this gold coin that seems to be very valuable, but it is different now. The main team of the Fairy Tail Guild is back. 10 Wizard Saints Makarov, S-Class Sorcerer Fairy Queen Urzanet Waka, S-Class Sorcerer Laxus, S-Class Sorcerer Myra Jane. Macau does not believe that there is anything that dares to hack its own gold coins. Macau, wait a moment. This gold coin should be the standard gold coin of the Kingdom of Dragonov, a kingdom that flourished 400 years ago. After hearing Macau's words, Levy replied without looking back, but now there is something wrong with this gold coin. Everything is true, but the year is a bit wrong. Chapter 73. Something wrong with the year. After Macau heard Levy's answer, he was stunned for a moment, and said, "What do you mean? Isn't this the gold coin of the Dragonov kingdom?" After hearing Levy's words, Macau's expression was a little lost. If it weren't for the highly collectible gold coin of the Kingdom of Dragonov, it would still be a long way to go to pay off the debt. This is the gold coin of the Dragonov kingdom. It's just that the Kingdom of Dragonov was a country 400 years ago. According to the normal situation, this gold coin has already passed 400 years. Levy looked at the gold coin in his hand with a serious expression, and said, "This gold coin in my hand has only lasted 3 years at most, and it should be a gold coin made in recent years. However, the anti-counterfeiting means in this gold coin should be the means of the Kingdom of Dragonov." Levy was also a little confused. "I really don't know how to define the gold coins in my hands. In terms of year, the gold coin in his hand is only 3 years old at most. In terms of anti-counterfeiting means, the anti-counterfeiting means in this gold coin are indeed the anti-counterfeiting means of the Kingdom of Dragonov. And the anti-counterfeiting measures of the Dragonov kingdom should have been lost for a long time. Macau, can you tell me in detail the appearance of the person who gave you the gold coins? You can also tell me about the appearance of the person beside that person, who suddenly appeared from the huge door of light." Levy didn't know why, and suddenly thought of some very absurd possibilities. The gold coin in his hand is indeed the real gold coin of the Dragonov kingdom, and the age is indeed not enough, and the anti-counterfeiting measures of the Dragonov kingdom have long been lost. How does it look? There's nothing special about the guy who gave me the gold coins, but his 2 wives look a lot like Urza and Lucy. Also, that person's daughter's name is Urza." After hearing Levy's words, Macau just frowned and recalled. Macau doesn't have any special impression of Lin Yan's own impression. Although I also know Lin Yan's appearance and characteristics, Irene and Enna, who are similar to their own guild members, are different. Then Macau briefly described Lin Yan, Irene and Enna's wool. He even used transformation magic and turned into Lin Yan, Irene and Enna as a reference. Okay, these clues are enough. If the gold coin in my hand is real, then there may be that possibility. They come from a time when the kingdom of Dragonov still existed. Levi started flipping through the books frantically. Because of personal hobbies, Levi usually likes to read books when he is free, and even magic is related to books, word magic. With the constant search, sweat slowly appeared on Levi's face. Wanting to collect helpful information in a short period of time was still a lot of burden for Levi, but as time passed, the expression on Levi's face gradually became more relaxed. Found a clue. In the kingdom of Dragonov, which was destroyed 400 years ago, there really exists. Levi kept reading aloud the information he saw, so that other friends around who were curious about this matter knew. However, as he continued to read, Levi's expression began to gradually become horrified. It was as if something extraordinary had been discovered. Macau, those people you met seem to be very important figures in the 400-year-old. Irene Dragonov, Queen of Dragonov Kingdom, Anna Heartfilia, Queen of Heartfilia Kingdom, and Lin Yan. For a while, everyone present became a little quieter. I don't know if I don't check it, I'm shocked when I check it. No one thought that Lin Yan, Anna, and Irene had such a terrible background. Legend has it that the kingdom of Heartfilia and the kingdom of Dragonov were very prosperous for a time, and they almost ruled the entire world together, and they once beat the dragons who swept the world at that time. Even if the country is destroyed in the end, the dragon race is also completely on the road of extinction. Now that a legendary figure like the queens of these two countries has appeared in this era 400 years later, no matter how you think about it, it doesn't feel like it's a simple matter. That, Levi. Yes, what should I do next? After hearing Levi's words, Macau subconsciously swallowed. Through the main force of fairy tale that has returned, Macau already knows what kind of terrifying existence they have encountered on Sirius Island. Just a giant dragon will have 10 wizard saints, several S-rank wizards and several dragons. Slayer made this look. It is hard to imagine how terrifying the kingdom of Heartfilia and the kingdom of Dragonov, which had killed the dragon clan, had been. Heartfilia. Lucy's full name seems to be Lucy Heartfilia. At this time, a Sakura-haired boy looked curiously at the blonde girl beside him. This is the hero and heroine of this anime, Natsu Dragneel and Lucy Heartfilia. With Natsu's voice falling, everyone in Fairy Tail instantly turned their attention to Lucy. This, I'm not very clear about this. I just know, my family seems to be rich. Magic Network, LCD TV, various entertainment industries, I seem to have patents in my family. After Lucy felt everyone's gaze, his little head shrank subconsciously. Because this time the Eclipse Gate no longer needs to be connected, Lucy's family is actually very complete, his parents are healthy, and the family business has not gone bankrupt. Even the richest man in the world. The Magic Network, etc. The policy set by Lin Yan 400 years ago, the Heartfilia family has been working hard to complete it, even if the country perishes. There is also the scene of today's wealthy country. Although Lucy eventually joined Fairy Tail, Lucy has always had a good relationship with the family. Her mother loves her father and she lives happily. Fairy Tail and Phantom Lord went into full-scale war because of other factors. After all, Fairy Tail and Phantom Lord are a feud, and the Lucy incident in the original book is just a fuse. Even without Lucy's father, Fairy Tail and Phantom Lord will eventually tear their faces. There is no way, Jose, the president of Phantom Lord, is really stingy. Chapter 74. Just because the president's party lost the fight with Makarov, he never attended the president's party again. And he also began to hate the Fairy Tail Guild, which was growing faster and faster. It was a matter of time before this kind of person would break up with Fairy Tail, and it had nothing to do with Lucy's father himself. In the original book, Lucy's father commissioned Phantom Lord to bring Lucy back, which was just a fuse. So, what should we do next? The fact that the once glorious kingdom of Dragonov and the Queen of Heartfilia Kingdom came to this era 400 years ago. Okay, don't worry too much. At this moment, a girl with a crimson head came over and said with a smile, report this information to the Magic Council truthfully, and let them have a headache. This matter has nothing to do with us. This girl with long crimson hair that looks somewhat similar to Irene is Urzanetwoka, who was born in the world corresponding to Aslant, Ed Rath. P.S. The world of Aslant is the world where the protagonists of the original book are located, and Edelas is the world of mirrors. It may be because Lin Yan flapped the wings of a butterfly 400 years ago, so Lysina, who was supposed to fall into the Edelas world by accident in the original book, did not have an accident. On the contrary, Urza from the Edela's world fell into the Aslant world due to some accidents, and under various circumstances, he replaced the original fairy queen Urza Shook Alto. Urza, who graduated from the Saint Seiya Academy and has a small universe holding a 10-ring gun, is also extremely powerful in combat. Now that Urza has spoken, the rest of the fairy tale will naturally not continue to say anything. After all, what Urza said is quite right. It should be the Magic Council who was provoked and slapped in the face, and it should have nothing to do with their fairy tale. Only, does it look very similar to me? Urza recalled the words Macau said just now, and was thoughtful. No one knows what Urza is really thinking at this moment. Put your eyes on Lin Yan again. Lin Yan didn't know that the Magic Council was worried about his own affairs. Even if he knew, Lin Yan didn't care. Although the Magic Council of this era was many times stronger than the Magic Council that Lin Yan knew, it was just that at best. Not to mention compared with the three major forces in Lin Yan's hands. Even compared with the Dragon Clan 400 years ago, it still means a lot worse. At most it has the ability to counterattack to a certain extent. Therefore, Lin Yan is basically in the stage of being hilarious everywhere these days. Although there is still a slight gap between this era and the modern society before Lin Yan passed through, the difference is definitely not much. After Lin Yan summoned Albedo, Shaltir, and Sayori Shirato from the power card, he started his own journey of enjoyment, going to the movies today and going shopping tomorrow. Or it is to turn into an internet addict and play games in a place similar to an internet cafe. Lin Yan casually sold a gold coin from the kingdom of Dragonov, and obtained money that could keep him going for a long time, which was really cool. On the other hand, Irene and Enna are also curious about this new era of magic. It's just that curiosity turns into curiosity. Compared with Lin Yan, a teenager who is addicted to the internet, both Irene and Enna have strong self-control, but they didn't fall for Lin Yan. Indeed, compared to the current era, the era 400 years ago was indeed a bit boring. On the street, Irene hugged Urza, looked at Lin Yan with a satisfied smile on his face, and said with a smile, "No wonder Lin Yan you want to come 400 years later. Well enough. However, it is true that this era is a little more interesting." Lin Yan smiled softly after hearing Irene's words, and said, "Actually, compared to this, I still have some expectations. When will the Magic Council come to the door? Security systems in this era are far more powerful than they were 400 years ago. Anyway, I should have come to the door at this time." As he said that, Lin Yan showed a bright smile at an observation magic tool similar to surveillance not far away. In the past few days, Lin Yan has found a lot of surveillance to observe himself. Originally, Lin Yan was planning to use the Magic Council's affairs to gain popularity, but the Magic Council didn't know what was going on, and suddenly he was cowardly. Don't talk about doing things, even withdrawing the wanted order against him, which makes Lin Yan a little curious. Naturally, Lin Yan didn't know. Fairy Tale had already found out his origins and reported his affairs to the Magic Council. After the Magic Council knew about Lin Yan's background, it immediately became a little apprehensive. Unlike Levi, they know more about the era 400 years ago. They knew best how terrible the kingdom of Dragonov and Heartfilia were. So after knowing the status of Irene and Enna as queens, I didn't know what to do in an instant. The final unified voting result was to wait and see. This is why, these days, Lin Yan has been able to feel that he is being observed. Fortunately, these guys didn't come to peep out of their control when they were sleeping, otherwise Lin Yan would have to do things again. Lin Yan came to enjoy life and didn't really want to do things. Of course, it's not impossible to do things occasionally to gain reputation or something. Lin Yan, your appearance doesn't matter. I look different from Enna. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Irene smiled and said, although it has been 400 years since then, I think that the Magic Council, as the highest supervision and management organization in the current era, cannot be unaware of the 400-year-old. Something from a few years ago. I think, after knowing the identities of me and Enna, there is a high probability that it will be over. As expected of his political background, he sees problems more clearly than Lin Yan. It was almost instantly understood why the Magic Council hadn't come looking for trouble for so long. Where? Chapter 75. Is that what it looks like? It's fine if they know each other so well. After hearing Irene's words, Lin Yan nodded suddenly. If that's the case, then it can only be forgotten, Lin Yan is not the kind of person who likes to have nothing to do. However, before Lin Yan could continue to say anything, the appearance of a person attracted Lin Yan's attention, a girl dressed like a witch. Maiko. A little familiar. Looking at the girl who appeared within his line of sight, Lin Yan's eyes narrowed slightly. And when a strange-looking yellow duck appeared beside the girl, Lin Yan determined the girl's identity. If there are no surprises, this girl is probably the heroine in the tale of Yao San Juling theatrical version, the Phoenix Witch Ekalia. At this time, Akli's situation didn't seem to be very good. Walking a little staggered, and the whole person looks a little weak. However, Lin Yan didn't say anything until she passed by Ekria. Ekria is the sorceress of the Phoenix. As long as the Phoenix Stone has no GG, Ekria will not be GG. You don't need to worry yourself. On the contrary, Sayori Shirato, who had been beside Lin Yan, glanced at Eclair, who had already walked over, with some worry. Similar to Saba's, Sayori Shiori is also a character with a strong sense of justice. Without going against Lin Yan's wishes, Shiori will want to do as much good as possible. How? Lin Yan looked at Sayori with a worried expression. Lin Yan just smiled and said, Sayori, are you worried about that girl? Well, Mr. Lin Yan. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Sayori nodded and said, there are some. The girl's physical condition is very bad, if you continue to ignore it. Ekalia. Ekalia. Help, who is going to help? Eclair passed out. Before Shirato Sayori could finish speaking, some movement began not far away. The girl, who was already in very bad physical condition, collapsed on the ground, and the little yellow duck following Eclair began to panic and shout for help. It could be seen that the little yellow duck was very worried about this girl named Eclair. Go and help if you want. You know, Shiori, I'm not strict with you. Lin Yan looked at Shirato Sayori, whose expression became more worried, and said with a smile, as long as it does not violate my personal principles, I still allow you to continue to be yours. Lin Yan, thank you very much. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Shirato Sayori said with a high-tech look. After he finished speaking, he quickly walked towards the place where Ekalia was unconscious, and helped Ekalia up before some ill-intentioned people surrounded her. It's just that Shirato Sayori is still in an unawakened state, and her overall physical quality is that of a very ordinary little girl. Lin Yan quickly summoned 2 bronze saints in the sanctuary to help. The next thing naturally became simpler. Because of the special circumstances, Lin Yan and others could only end today's event ahead of schedule, but Lin Yan doesn't care anymore. It was already a bit late, and it was almost time to go back to the hotel to rest. The reason why he was still hanging out was because Lin Yan was thinking about why the Magic Council hadn't come to him for so long. In this way, after the sky gradually became deeper as time passed, Eclair was thankful under the care of her. Here. Eclair looked at the somewhat unfamiliar ceiling, glanced at the surrounding environment, and then asked Shiori Sayori, who was sitting beside her, a little confused, who are you? Because of the sudden coma, Akli didn't know what happened to her in the time after she fell into a coma. You're awake. Shiori Sayori looked at Eclair who had woken up, and said with a gentle face, just now your body seemed to be very weak and you passed out, so we will take you to the hotel to take care of you. Drink some soup first, you probably haven't eaten for a long time. Eclair looked at the soup that Shirato Sayori was holding, and there was some hesitation on her face. However, considering the extremely bad state of his body now, he finally took the soup from Shirato Sayori's hand and said, thank you. After speaking, Eclair stopped talking. Picking up the little yellow duck beside him is to drink the soup, and the little yellow duck casts an apologetic look at Shirato Sayori. Eclair is indeed not so polite. I could vaguely feel Eclair's estrangement from Shirato Sayori and the others. Albedo and Shaltir frowned when they saw this scene. After all, Sayori Shirato helped Ekalia, but now Ekalia felt alienated. It seems that I am not very grateful for Shirato Sayori's help. Lin Yan, who was using the magic computer to play games, also turned slightly to the side and glanced at Eclair, who was concentrating on drinking soup. He didn't say anything, but refocused on the game. If it wasn't for Sayori Shirato wanting to help, Lin Yan actually didn't want to care about Ekalia. After all, Ekalia had a lot of troubles. As a teenager who is addicted to the internet, Lin Yan just wants to play games well, and ignore other things if he can ignore it. Didn't you see, Lin Yan became a little careless about things like brushing his reputation? Not because the fairy tale world has run out of relationships that could threaten Lin Yan's existence. Without pressure, there is no motivation. Lin Yan is a salted fish. At the same time, In Belonica, a small duchy on the continent of Ishgar, some people have begun to take an interest in the half-phoenix stone on Éclair. This is the prince of the Duchy of Belonica, Stuart Croft. 400 years ago, it was the king of the Principality of Belonica who coveted the phoenix stone in the village where Éclair was, and led the army to massacre the village where Éclair was. Steal the phoenix stone enshrined in the village of Éclair. Chapter 76. Hey, you can get the phoenix stone of immortality. The stone of the phoenix that my ancestors in the Principality of Belonica have been looking for generations, I finally found it here. Stuart looked at the surveillance video with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Because of the rapid development of the times and the popularization of surveillance, Stuart was able to find the phoenix witch Éclair earlier than in the original book. Legend has it that as long as 2 phoenix stones are collected to make the phoenix stone complete, then the blood of the phoenix can be obtained, and the person who consumes the blood of the phoenix will gain immortality. But what no one knows is that this immortality is not a symbol of endless beauty, but the other extreme of endless beauty, endless torture. It seems that in the fairy tale world, all those who obtain the so-called immortal life have no good end. Even so, there has been a steady stream of people seeking the so-called immortality for 14 years. Originally, the phoenix stone had been treasured by the Principality of Belonica for many years. Because monitoring has never been popularized before, it is too difficult to find a person from the vast sea of people, so slowly, the legend of the phoenix stone is really regarded as a legend. The successive kings of the Principality of Belonica did not consider it the same thing. After all, for hundreds of years, there has been no news about the other half of the phoenix stone. He just took the half-phoenix stone that he snatched from the village of Éclair as an ancestor of his own country. Looking at the half-phoenix stone with strange colors blooming in his hand, Prince Stuart muttered to himself with some obsession, "As long as it can make you whole. Then, my handsome face can exist forever. What an exciting thing this is." After that, Prince Stuart just collected half of the phoenix stone from the new collection. The legend about the phoenix stone has been around for a long time, and Prince Stuart has to make a long-term plan. If he is cut off by other forces halfway, then Prince Stuart will really be heartbroken. In this way, under the operation of Prince Stuart, the entire Duchy of Belonica began to operate with full force. Not even just like this. In addition to fully operating the forces and powers that he possesses, Prince Stuart also contacted the more famous Ruby Guild among the Dark Guilds. Since the 2 corners of the Dark Alliance, Balam Alliance, Oration Cease, and Grimoire Heart were destroyed, the Ruby Guild is a new guild that has emerged in just 7 years. It is quite a powerful Dark Guild. Although the strength of the Principality of Belonica is average on the Ishgar road, this is also a comparison between countries. Compared with individuals, after a country is running at full speed, it is still very terrifying. All in all, Stuart is doing whatever it takes to get the legendary complete Phoenix Stone. Even if you start a war for this, you will not hesitate. And that night, the Principality of Belonica had already determined the location of Éclair. There's more monitoring. At least twice as much as yesterday's surveillance. Get up in the morning. Lin Yan glanced at the scene outside the window and frowned. Without any hesitation, Lin Yan snapped his fingers, and all the cameras facing Lin Yan's direction exploded. Lin Yan has no hobby of being monitored. It's really getting crazier. 1 or 2 is not enough, now more than 20 monitors are facing him in all directions, which is simply too much. More surveillance. Strange, under normal circumstances, it shouldn't be like this. After hearing Lin Yan's dissatisfied voice, Irene on the side also said strangely, "Maybe the Magic Council wants to further test our attitude." "No, I don't think it's a temptation from the Magic Council." Lin Yan shrugged indifferently, glanced at Éclair who was not far away with her head bowed and did not speak, and then put her eyes to a corner outside the window. The moment Lin Yan destroyed the surveillance, some people who were dormant couldn't sit still. Boom! Accompanied by a roar. A house not far away was turned into a pile of ruins. Demiurge smiled and brought a few unconscious people to Lin Yan. If anyone who knew him was here at this time, he would be horrified to discover that the few people Demiurge was holding were the core members of the Dark Guild, the Ruby Guild, which had been getting along very well recently. "Lord Lin Yan, I'm really sorry for disturbing your rest with the mistress." After bringing the core members of the Ruby Guild to Lin Yan, Demiurge bowed slightly to Lin Yan and said, "I don't know, what will Mr. Lin Yan deal with next?" "Old rules." Lin Yan chuckled lightly after hearing Demiurge's words, and said, "Send it all to the intelligence investigator." Chapter 77. I didn't expect that before the Magic Council came to the door, a group of trash fish couldn't help but jump out first. Lin Yan leaned back on the chair, her eyes narrowed slightly, and after enjoying herself, Irene's soft and boneless hands massaged with the right force and said lightly. But that's fine. After all, if it's too calm, it's too boring, isn't it? With that said, Lin Tian glanced at Akaya's position. As for the guys that Demiurge caught, Lin Yan knew that it must be because of Eclair. According to the content of the theatrical version of Eclair, the Phoenix Miko, the only people who can dare to do things in the Kingdom of Fiori are the members of the Dark Guild Ruby, hired by Prince Barrow Nica. A small principality, it is difficult to enter Lin Yan's eyes. For Lin Yan, who can easily solve the problem with the dragon race, there is not much difference between destroying the principality of Bello Nica and crushing an ant. Come on Irene, Anna, it's a shame not to go out for a walk in such a good weather. Lin Yan led the crowd to the outside, and Sayori Shirato looked at Eclair who was sitting alone. A gentle light flashed in those beautiful eyes, and she stretched out a white and flawless softness towards her. Whispered. Eclair, won't you come with us, it's boring to stay here, isn't it? For this girl who has always been a little bad at communicating with people and closed her heart, the kind-hearted Sayori Shirato is still very concerned, so she invited her out loud. Eclair, who had been silent for a long time, looked at Shirato Sayori's gentle eyes, and in an instant, some ripples appeared in her closed heart. But in the end, he didn't speak, just nodded silently, hesitantly stretched out his hand and took Shirato Sayori's hand. Seeing Eclair's movements, Shirato Sayori smiled brightly, pulled her up, and trotted to chase after Lin Yan and the others. Lord Lin Yan, wait for us. After the incident in the morning, nothing happened the next day. Lin Yan took the group for a full day of leisurely strolls outside, not letting go of any novelty food and snacks. After all, money is just a number for him, and he doesn't need to care about it. At the end of the day, this leisurely life made everyone extremely happy, and it was not until the sun set in the evening that they returned home. It has to be said that whether it is a queen or a goddess, as long as it is a woman, it seems that they have no resistance to things like shopping. In particular, Irene, Anna and Shiori Sayori were all noble people in the past. When they needed anything, they had someone to serve them, and they didn't even need to buy it themselves. In the face of 400 years of new and ever-changing products, as well as fashionable services, they all stimulated a strong desire to buy. In the end, Lin Yan had to specially summon a few bronze saints to carry the bags, so that all the things can take it back. Rao is that Lin Yan's current physical fitness has encountered such a situation, and it is also a little overwhelmed. After finally returning home, under the service of Albedo, I relaxed and groomed, and was about to play 2 games to relax when there was a knock on the door. Shiori Sayori went to open the door, and saw Demiurge standing at the outer door with a respectful face. Sir Lin Yan, the intelligence investigators are still interrogating the intelligence. Let's hear it. Lin Yan got a glass of red wine and stood in front of the window looking at the bright moonlight and said lightly. A total of 4 people were arrested. According to the information obtained from the interrogation, they are all members of a union named Ruby. They accepted the commission of Prince Bello Nica for a treasure on this lady's body. To be precise, it's half a phoenix stone. Hearing Demiurge's words, Irene and the others in the room cast curious glances at Eclair. Phoenix stone? What is that? Feeling the eyes of everyone, Eclair subconsciously shrank towards the corner, her eyes full of vigilance and anxiety. Lin Yan stood in front of the window and heard Demiurge's report, and shook the red wine in his glass a little boringly. Just as he thought, those guys were indeed members of the Ruby Guild. Come to think of it, these guys were caught by themselves, and after disappearing, the Principality of Barrow Nica would soon get news. Thinking, Lin Yan took a sip of the red wine in the glass, the sour feeling made him frown slightly. Should I have asked Ziref to get the happy water from the fat house before I left? I really had some mistakes. Since they dare to spy on us, they should pay a price anyway. Let the intelligence investigator ask the whereabouts of their guild, and you will take them to destroy. Before he could finish speaking, Lin Yan's voice suddenly stopped. Demiurge looked at Lin Yan with some doubts, and saw him looking at the night scene outside the window with a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. It seems that we don't need to go to them, they can't wait to come and die. Hearing this, Demiurge also laughed, bowed towards Lin Yan, and said respectfully. Let your subordinates sacrifice the lives of these ants to please the adults. Well, Don't make too much noise, I find it noisy. Chapter 78. In the kingdom of Fiori at night, the streets are very prosperous. In this era when magic has been integrated into life, the brilliance of various magic props makes this city extraordinarily moving, like a city that never sleeps. And the more prosperous the performance of light, the easier it is to produce dark corners, just like now. Has the location been determined? It's confirmed, according to the magic detection results, the location where the president and the others disappeared is here. In the dark alley where the light cannot reach, a group of people wearing black robes of different heights are gathering here and whispering. Remember that we must act fast. According to the information we have detected before, the president and their target, the woman with the Phoenix Stone, has not left yet, and is still here. As long as we get the Phoenix Stone and return to the Principality of Bailorica, then the 200 million J will be ours. Hearing 200 million J, everyone around them suddenly lit up with greed under their black robes. This is the Dark Guild, and they are a group of desperados. How can they be like fairy tale, to rescue their companions? Their real purpose is simply to exchange the Phoenix Stone on Claire's body for high commissions. As for the disappeared president and others, wouldn't it be better if they disappeared? Just as everyone was excited by the high bounty, a rustling voice suddenly came from a dark corner. This made everyone who was in the dark and on guard suddenly startled. What's that sound? What happened? What happened? Just when everyone was puzzled, a ray of light lit up from the crowd, illuminating the surrounding scene. Idiot, whoever made the light, turn it off quickly, it will expose us. Halfway through the conversation, it stopped abruptly. When they saw the surrounding scene clearly, the faces of the group of people who hid their faces under the black robes suddenly changed greatly, and they no longer had the intention to blame the guy who illuminated the surrounding environment. Because the alley they were in, I don't know when, it was already densely packed with huge insects with ferocious mouthparts. Only in the area where they were standing, there were no bugs yet. The pair of insects that were the size of mung beans and shone with scarlet rays of light seemed to have their own consciousness, and they could even see a greedy look from those scarlet eyes. They slowly approached the figure of the black-robed man. The rustling sound that I heard before is what these insects make when they move. Seeing so many hideous and terrifying insects, let alone a woman who is naturally afraid of insects, even the men in the team are a little scared and disgusted. One bug is enough to scare people, not to mention so many. What's going on? How can there be so many bugs? In the team, a female voice asked cautiously with a trembling voice that was almost about to cry. What are you afraid of? It's just some bugs, hurry up and solve these disgusting things, and there are 200 million bounties waiting for us to get. One of the burly guys walked out of the crowd and said in a loud voice. As he spoke, a circle of fiery red magic circles suddenly lit up in his hand. The air was like a firefly, and the fiery red light seemed to be summoned, and it quickly gathered towards his hand. Obviously this person is going to use fire magic to burn all these bugs into fly ash. Seeing the man's movements, the rays of magic circles flashed among the black-robed men. Under the shroud of various colors of light, the whole alley is bright. Just as everyone was about to activate the magic and rushed out, a crisp and pleasant voice suddenly sounded in this quiet alley. Tisk tisk tisk, this can't be done. You don't like such cute insects. This is specially prepared by others. Hearing the sound, the members of the Ruby Guild looked up subconsciously. I saw a long rope tied obliquely at the top of the alley, and a petite figure wearing a maid's costume with weird limbs was standing steadily on the rope, with a strangely stiff smile on his face, watching them. Who? Is it all your fault? After discovering the initiator, the guys from the Ruby Guild suddenly had the goal of venting their anger, and the magic in their hands that originally wanted to destroy the swarm immediately moved towards the figure in the air. At this time, it was obvious that he could no longer care about the exposed things. The most important thing was to solve the guy in front of him, and then quickly go to the Phoenix Stone and go back to receive the reward. It's just that in the face of everyone's magic, the figure standing on the rope was as agile as a bird in the sky. Between tossing and turning, he calmly avoided all the magic and landed lightly on the ground. Hey, you guys are really rude. You don't appreciate it when people treat you so carefully. But it's good to be active, so when you eat it, the meat will be better, hee. Just when everyone was still stunned by the cannibalism in their words, the petite figure in front of them split open in an instant, turning into a ferocious worm that instantly disappeared in place and plunged into the crowd. Chapter 79. Squeak. Squeak. In the dark alley, it has long lost its previous appearance. At this time, the long and narrow alley was already shrouded in a strong bloody smell, and the bloody smell was so strong that it condensed into substance. In such a short period of time, dozens of lives in this alley dissipated. Zeta, are you all resolved? Demiurge was standing at the entrance of the alley, looking at the corpse among the piles of corpses, and asked the fun-loving bug girl. Well, they've all been killed. But these people taste delicious, and the magic in their bodies is great. Insect Girl's mouth was full of scarlet meat, and she said to Demiurge happily. Seeing the happy appearance of Insect Girl, Demiurge chuckled a little helplessly, pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose, turned and walked towards Lin Yan's residence. Remember to hurry back after eating, and don't cause any trouble to Lord Lin Yan. I see, thank you Demiurge-sama. Saying that, Insect Girl didn't waste time at all, and hurriedly swallowed the food in her mouth while muttering. Sure enough, you still have to eat men's meat to lose weight, and women are still too greasy. My lord, all those people have been dealt with by Zeta, and the subordinates have already gone to confirm that there are no survivors. Demiurge stood respectfully in front of Lin Yan and reported in a low voice. Zeta? It's been a long time since I saw this little girl. Your lord is really considerate to your subordinates. If Zeta knew that you were thinking of her, she would be very happy. As the two were talking, Lin Yan suddenly felt a faint sour smell in the air, and subconsciously looked back and saw Albedo and Shaltir with jealous expressions on their faces. Even though Lin Yan had arranged a wedding for them before, these two guys were as stingy as ever when it came to being jealous. Lin Yan smiled, stepped forward and hugged the two of them, walking towards the room. Go back, Demiurge, I'm getting ready to rest. Yes, Mr. Lin Yan. After all, it's been so long, so he should work harder to let Albedo and Shaltir have children of their own. After all, you can't favor one over the other, right? Just when Lin Yan was living a happy life like a fairyland on Earth, somewhere in this continent, there was another person who couldn't be happy because of him. What the hell is going on? Don't your Ruby Guild claim to be strong? Why haven't you sent the Phoenix Stone to me yet? Not only that, but now I can't even get in touch. Do you still want to get money? In the royal palace of the Principality of Bello Nica, in a luxurious room. Stuart Crofts was looking at a man standing in front of him with an angry face, and unabashedly poured his dissatisfaction to him. Obviously the time of the 400th anniversary of the founding of the country is getting closer and closer, but at this juncture, the Ruby Guild, which had promised it well, actually cut off contact. How could this make him not anxious to get angry? Seeing the prince with an angry face, the members of the Ruby member who stayed in the palace to serve as messengers were also very miserable. Originally, during the day, the boss also sent a letter, saying that he was going to grab the Phoenix Stone in the morning. When he got this news, he hurriedly told Stuart Crofts about it, and as expected, he got a small reward. If things develop to this point, and everything is still normal, then what happens next will be a little confusing. First, I waited until sunset, and I didn't see the boss's reply. No matter how I contacted, it was useless. In the face of Stuart Crofts' urging, he had to send a message to the other members of the guild, asking them to go to the kingdom of Fiori to find out. But this investigation, not only did not find the whereabouts of the boss and the others, but even they lost contact at all. It was as if someone in the dark had known their purpose for a long time, and set up a net of heaven and earth waiting for them to drill. No matter how many people went, whether they were strong or not, there was no news. He was alone at the moment, and there was no way to deal with Stuart Crofts at all. It's really some waste. It's really disappointing for me to trust you so much before. Someone, put this guy in jail for me. Stuart Croft gave the second order, and several guards rushed in immediately, suppressing this not-so-strong wizard with ease. It's really unreliable things. These shady guys really shouldn't trust their abilities. Stuart Croft sat in his room, looking at the graceful and impeccable figure in the mirror, a look of obsession flashed in his eyes. No matter what, I must get the Phoenix Stone. I want to live an immortal life to maintain my handsome face. No matter what the price is. The corner of Stuart Croft's mouth in the mirror raised a cold smile, and there was a flash of savagery in his eyes. Where? Chapter 80. Kingdom of Fiori. Come on, come on. Use magic to attack its weak spot. No, this monster's attack is too fierce, and it can't bear it at all. We must resist if we can't bear it. We must not give up, and we must not fall short. Shaltir, are you a pig? Hurry up and use magic to knock it down. Intense quarrels kept ringing. If you don't know, just listening to this voice, you will think that this group of people is facing a powerful dragon. In fact, all of this is just in Lin Tian's room, and several people are playing games online together. According to what Lin Tian had previously instructed, Mr. Gear successfully developed a series of magics, and after several generations of perfection and transformation, many games were born. This made Lin Yan, who was an otaku, naturally not happy. Although the quality of the game cannot be compared with the previous life, but in this world, it is better than nothing, which can barely comfort his soul. But playing the game alone is naturally meaningless, so Lin Yan directly pulled Irene, Anna, Albedo and Shaltir, plus himself a total of 5 people, formed a team to play together. Similar to the online games of the previous life, they are all upgrade types. In the beginning, Albedo and the others still held a dismissive attitude, saying that this kind of rubbish is weird, and they can run over them with a little finger. After playing with Lin Yan for a while, they began to fall into it gradually, and even Irene and Anna were attracted. It's not that Lin Yan finally took a few people and started to attack the boss, and there was an opening scene. Irene, you're a nurse, you have to tell me several times, you're not a warrior, don't rush forward. And Anna, what are you afraid of? You have to stand in front of you. While manipulating his own characters, Lin Yan taught the crowd with all his heart and saliva. But Lin Yan is enjoying it, after all, this is the charm of the game, isn't it? It's almost too soon, it has a trace of blood left, and it will be killed by us soon. Seeing that the monster's blood bar on the screen is getting less and less, the 5 people's attention has become more and more concentrated, their eyes are fixed on the screen composed of magic, and they are carefully manipulating the characters. When only the last trace of the monster's blood was left, even if it was touched by Irene's nanny, it was about to die, and the accident happened suddenly. Boom! A roar of explosion came suddenly. This is not the sound in the game, but the effect in reality. The room where several people were, was about to be opened by an attack from the outside, and the strong impact overturned everything in the room. Even the magic tool that Lin Yan and the others played online were destroyed by this shock, and the boss, who was about to die, just went black and disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. To several people in the room, the impact was like a breeze, it was an understatement, it didn't cause any harm at all, and it was impossible to even make a few people feel ashamed. But looking at the game boss who disappeared in front of him, a nameless anger burned in the hearts of the 5 people at the same time. This is the boss that the 5 of them fought for a whole day, and they were about to be killed, yet such a jerk? Bastard! Albedo was burning with anger, and with a coquettish cry, that tall and slender body instantly burst into a dark purple light. When the light disappeared, the whole body was completely covered with sharp thorns. Tightly wrapped up. The metal gloves with black claws held a black kite shield in one hand, and a giant axe flashing with a faint green light in the other hand. Obviously, he was extremely angry and entered a state of battle. He wanted to find those guys who destroyed himself and others to fight the boss to settle accounts. On the other side, Shaltir, unwilling to be outdone, put on the pink battle armor that was shattered by Momonga in the original book, holding a god-level weapon dropper spear in her hand, and her delicate face was full of tenderness. Killing intent. The 2 charming girls instantly turned into extremely ferocious killing gods. Irene and Anna's faces were not much better at this time. Anything they worked hard for a day and was destroyed at the last critical moment would not be in a good mood for anyone. And Lin Yan, who was playing games with everyone, was even more gloomy at this time. No one can understand the anger of being disrupted at the end of the game better than him, like disconnecting the network when you want to kill 5 kills, or the server crashing when you pick up an artifact. For Lin Yan, who experienced this kind of anger in his previous life, never thought that he would be re-experienced by others in this fairy tale world. This depressing anger that makes you want to kill is the first time it has been so intense since it came to this world. Demiurge. My subordinate is in the adult, the subordinate escort is late, and I hope the adult. Don't talk nonsense, find out who launched the attack just now, and catch me. I want him to survive, not to die. Lin Yan looked at Demiurge, who was kneeling in front of him, high above him, and his voice was as cold as Jiu. Chapter 81. The moment he heard Lin Yan's voice, Demiurge's body, which was half kneeling on the ground, suddenly trembled, and a deep tremor instantly filled his body. In front of Lin Tian, at this moment, even if he is a demon who does not invade in the cold and heat, he seems to have been placed in the extreme cold ice cave of despair. Rising. Yes. Yes, Mr. Lin Yan. Demiurge, who has always been steady, began to tremble involuntarily when he spoke at this moment. After speaking, he quickly disappeared in front of Lin Yan, and Demiurge, who had followed Lin Yan for a long time, could clearly feel that Mr. Lin Yan was really angry this time. So since then, whether it's the dragon family or something else, Lin Yan has always been a calm look, and there won't be any big mood swings at all, but this time. 14. Thinking of this, Demiurge's body trembled subconsciously again. That terrifying feeling was really frightening, and he didn't want to echo it again. Everyone, go and catch all the guys who attacked Mr. Lin Yan just now. Catch them alive. Sir Lin Yan said, let them live and die. Demiurge looked ferocious, looking at the people of the various forces who were waiting in battle, said sharply. Looking at Demiurge's expression, the expressions on everyone's faces were also extremely serious. Lin Yan was their king and their god. Lin Yan's will is what they will do with all their might, and Lin Yan's anger is the dereliction of duty when they are subordinates. Following Lin Yan's order, all the forces that had been resting all the time moved. The power hidden in the darkness, since 400 years ago, once again began to show its terrifying power. Tomb of Nazarick, 10 Blades of Destruction, Sanctuary. No one could have imagined that just because of a slight attack that could not be more minor, all the behemoths under Lin Yan's subordinates began to act frantically. How is it, did you hit the target just now? Report sir, it has been hit. Okay. Everyone is ready to attack, this time we must bring back the Phoenix Stone that the prince needs. This is the time to prove that we are stronger than those dark guilds. Yes, sir. Not far from the room where Lin Yan and others lived, a group of disciplined guys was preparing to act when an extremely icy voice suddenly came from behind them, like a 9 horns blowing from the polar region. General Quiet Wind. Is it you lowly ants who caused Lord Lin Yan's anger? Who? The leader of the team shuddered subconsciously, then turned around and shouted in shock. But when he and his subordinates turned around, what they saw in front of them not only made their eyes tighten, but they couldn't help themselves in fear. Cocytus stood behind this group of people, his huge size and terrifying appearance, it was as terrifying as a nightmare that only appeared in a nightmare. Oh my god! This! What kind of monster is this? Never seen such a terrifying monster in all of Ishgar. The azure blue huge body, like a layer of sturdy armor, shone with a cold light under the light of the night. The 3 pairs of compound eyes flashing with scarlet killing intent added a bit of malevolence to the darkness. The arms with sturdy limbs, holding a weapon that shines with a faint magical luster, are full of oppression. Although we really want to kill you all, Lord Lin Yan has an order to capture you alive. Attack! Attack! Give me an attack! Looking at Cocytus, the leader of the squad could hardly contain the terror in his heart, and shouted in panic. But before they could make a move, Cocytus suddenly raised a stout giant foot and stomped down on the ground. The hard slate floor exploded under Cocytus' tremendous force. A deep crater quickly formed under Cocytus' feet, and with this stomping, an extreme chill that seemed to come out of nowhere spread out in an instant. A touch of blue and extremely deep ice quickly spread from the feet of Terstus towards the group of people. No! No! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! No! Ah! My legs! A shrill scream resounded instantly. But before they wailed for a long time, just in the blink of an eye, a group of ice sculptures with frightened expressions and different movements appeared. He didn't see what Cocytus did, and the next second Demiurge flew over from the sky with his wings fluttering. Cocytus, are these guys the ones who attacked Lord Lin Yan? Well, when I first came, I heard that they were going to raid Lord Lin Yan and snatch what is called the Phoenix Stone. Got it, hard work Cocytus. Demiurge flew in the air, and with a slight gesture of his hand, a dark magic force extended from his hand, and directly lifted the group of guys frozen by deserts, and moved towards him. Go to Lin Yan's residence. At the same time, under Lin Yan's anger, all the people from the forces came out, and the magic council was completely blown up. The originally well-ordered conference room was in chaos. Chapter 82. Sir! Sir, you! Better come and have a look. The magic council in the middle of the night is much quieter than it is during the day. Except for some serious prisoners in the prison who need to be guarded 24 hours a day, there are no night shift personnel. Although now a 24-hour post monitoring Lin Yan has been added. In the morning before, there were more surveillance around Lin Yan, as if another group of people was watching him. We were going to observe it for a while to see what was going on. But then Lin Yan directly destroyed all the surveillance. Later, when our surveillance resumed, I found out that he was attacked. What? The frogman in the council heard the words of his subordinate, the magic wand in his hand suddenly fell to the ground, and he screamed while covering his cheeks. Regarding the matter of Lin Yan and others, the council had already known their identities, so it was treated with caution, and only 2 surveillances were deployed. Otherwise, when Lin Yan cleaned up those guys from the Ghost of Twilight, the council would have come to arrest people long ago. After all, he was a great figure who created an era, and even the dragon clan under his command had no resistance, and if he really got into trouble, it would be difficult to solve it. So the Magic Council has always been a stage of watching from the sidelines. But who would have thought that a person who even their Magic Council dared not move would be attacked by a guy who doesn't have long eyes? Judging from the footage captured by the surveillance footage, Lin Yan was standing beside a wall that had been blasted with a big hole, his face full of anger. Those twinkling eyes, even through this still picture, can feel its monstrous anger. No. No. I'm going to tell the members of this matter quickly. The frogman hurriedly left his subordinates in place and ran towards the council hall. In such a late night, most of the members have already left. After all, no one is an Iron Man and needs to rest. Moreover, members are only a job, and it is normal to go home after get off work. However, this kind of thing is really urgent. Even if the members have already gone home, they must be notified quickly. Even if it is an online meeting, this matter must be properly handled. You must know that it was 400 years ago, standing at the top of the world. If something happened, it would be much more serious than the fight of ordinary wizards. The counselors who had already returned home were quickly contacted by the frogman through emergency contact information. Is something wrong? Are you calling us so late? The frogman looked at the comical appearance of a couple of well-respected counselors wearing pajamas and using a virtual projection to participate in the meeting, but he didn't want to laugh at all. His face was full of panic, and he was holding a screenshot of Lin Yan's furious expression to show the congressman. We just got the news that Lin Yan was attacked. What? Real or fake? We didn't do anything. Who is it? Hearing the words of the frogman, all the counselors in pajamas immediately exploded. Why are they being cautious, and why are they making concessions again and again? Isn't it all because Lin Yan is the powerhouse who created an era 400 years ago? This kind of extremely powerful existence, if there is any thought, I am afraid that the entire society will be turbulent because of this, not to mention how many innocent civilians will be killed and injured. But all this was destroyed by a group of guys who came out of nowhere. Looking at Lin Yan's angry appearance in the screenshot, the members of the House of Representatives also had an uncontrollable evil fire rushing towards their foreheads. 1 and 2 were gnashing their teeth. What the hell is that bastard, doing such irresponsible things? Now let's wipe our ass. Just when the congressman fell into a depressed anger, a panicked voice sounded, stumbling towards the hall. It's not good. It's not good. Something big happened. When the frogman heard the familiar voice of his subordinate, he rushed forward and grabbed his collar. What's it called? Didn't you see the congressman in a meeting? The subordinate looked at the frogman aggrieved, and raised the picture in his hand to say the rules. But on Lin Yan's side, something happened again. Frogman's eyes went dark, and he almost fainted. Now he almost wondered if he was allergic to the word Lin Yan, otherwise why would his head be so dizzy? Pulling over the picture in the hands of his subordinates, the frogman rolled his eyes as soon as he glanced at it, and fell unconscious on the ground. The subordinates looked at the unconscious frogman, standing blankly at a loss. Bastard, what are you still doing? Hurry up and show us the things. Hearing the voice of the congressman, his subordinates reacted and quickly picked up the picture and presented it to the congressman. As soon as I got the picture, the virtual images of the members came together. It didn't matter if I didn't see it, but my heart suddenly felt bad. Unable to accept the strong stimulation, he fainted directly. Chapter 83. Because the monitoring of the Magic Council is floating in the air, the picture taken is also a top view. It can be clearly seen in the picture that, centered on the residence where Lin Yan and others lived before, there are suddenly many different types of guys around, and they are spreading around the city. Among them, there are not only Cositus, a huge and hideous-looking guy, but also many Saint CEs wearing holy clothes, among which there are also guys with bone faces. Seeing these people, it's no wonder that the frog and a few MPs with poor mental capacity fainted. It's not that they can't, but the impact is too strong. The era that Lin Yan created 400 years ago can be said to be a brilliant and powerful existence, and even the dragons were just a guy who was crushed to death in front of him. Of course, this is inseparable from Lin Yan's terrifying strength, but his subordinates also left an indelible mark in history. Not to mention too much, just a Saint CEA. Although there are only 88 people in this group of guys wearing different styles of holy clothes, they have completely created another new school of cultivation. This kind of cultivation style gives more people who do not have the talent to practice magic to have a chance to become stronger. The Saint CEA Cultivation Academy has been passed down to this day. Originally, the entire Magic Council thought that Lin Yan came 400 years later through the Eclipse Gate, and only brought his relatives here, so he had maintained this attitude until now. After all, after 400 years of changes, today's human beings and once thought are much stronger than various developments. Rao is Lin Yan, no matter how strong he is, he can't be more powerful than a single shot of magic wizard power. The Magic Council is not without the capital to compete. But who would have thought that his group of subordinates, whose strength was so frightening and perverted, would actually follow along? That is the power that can create an era. Just when the Magic Council fell into chaos and didn't know how to look at Lin Yan again, Lin Yan had already made new moves. Have you already asked? Yes, Mr. Lin Yan. Demiurge respectfully knelt on the ground and answered in a deep voice. The group of guys who attacked you directly recruited everything from the intelligence investigator, and now they have been sent to the terrorist. According to your request, let them live a death sentence. Lord Terror, the guardian of the second underground floor in the great tomb of Nazarick, one of the 5 worst evils. Because the room was full of cockroaches, even Nazarick's companions rarely visited him. However, for execution, it can perfectly meet Lin Yan's requirements. While eating those guys from the inside out with endless cockroaches, Mayor Bellofiore, the pseudo-mother's younger brother, casts recovery magic to heal them, and the cycle goes on, and never stops. Tell me, Demiurge, where are those guys from? Demiurge, who was kneeling on the ground, heard Lin Yan's voice and shuddered subconsciously. Although he knew that Lin Yan's words were not aimed at him, he couldn't help it. According to them, they were sent by Prince Stuart Crofts of the Duchy of Barrow-Nica to grab a gem called the Phoenix Stone in time for their 400th anniversary celebration. Hearing Demiurge's words, Lin Yan narrowed his eyes slightly, and a cold light flashed from his eyes. These ants really feel that their lives are too long. Sir, do you need to belong to? Do not. Lin Yan stood up from the chair and looked down at Demiurge with a cruel smile on his face. Since everyone else has come to say hello, I will naturally return the gift to show my courtesy. Tonight, let me destroy the entire Duchy of Bellow-Nica. Not a single one. When Demiurge heard Lin Yan's words, his body froze, and a scarlet light suddenly lit up under his white glasses. Your wishes are our direction, obey, Lord Lin Yan. I came to provoke again and again. If I stopped doing something, I was really afraid that I would be looked down upon by others. Irene and the others in the room frowned when they heard that Lin Yan was going to destroy a principality. A principality has a population of several million at least. If they were to destroy all of them according to Lin Yan's words, it would mean that they would kill them. Millions of people. But even so, none of Irene and the others spoke out against it. Whether their man's decision was good or bad, they all believed in him and supported his decision without reservation. It's just that Claire, who had been by the side the whole time, heard this decision and suddenly stood up and said with a trembling voice. How could you do that? That's a million people, and you're going to let so many innocent people die just because Stuart Croft sent someone to attack you. That's all living life. Bold. Lin Yan hadn't spoken yet, when Albedo beside him stepped forward and strangled Claire's neck, his eyes flashing with murderous intent. You lowly human, who gave you the courage to speak to Lord Lin Yan like this? Ekria. Ekria. Chapter 84. The yellow duck who had been following Claire's side, seeing such a scene, immediately flew up anxiously, wanting to keep fluttering, wanting Albedo to let go. But he was just a pet, how could he possibly have any effect? Seeing that no matter how hard she tried, it was useless, Meng Meng knew that Lin Yan was the only one who had the right words here, so she hurried to his side and apologized again and again. Sir Lin Yan, please, Please let Akalia go, she didn't mean it, she. Lin Yan sneered as she looked at Eclair in Albedo's hands and said lightly. Put her down, Albedo. Yes, Mr. Lin Yan. Albedo glared at Eclair coldly, snorted, and stood aside with her arms folded. Freed from Albedo's hands, Eclair fell to the ground with a thump, and fell on her knees, coughing violently. Seeing that Akalia was no longer in danger, Meng Meng quickly and respectfully thanked Lin Yan, and then fluttered her wings and flew to Akalia's side, saying repeatedly. Akalia, Akalia, are you all right, are you? After a long period of time, Eclair recovered in front of her. Everyone in the room looked at her coldly, including Shiori Sayori, who had offered her a helping hand before. Some indifference. For them, Lin Yan is the master that they will never betray. Their lives and their thoughts are all centered on Lin Yan. Even the kind-hearted Shiori Sayori didn't say anything when he heard that Lin Yan made the decision to destroy the country. An outsider who just picked it up dared to question Lin Yan's decision? If Lin Yan hadn't just stopped him, Albedo would have really prepared to execute him on the spot. Lin Yan stood up, stepped forward and walked in front of Akli, looking down at her with a cold smile on her face. Why do you think it's too much for me to destroy the country? Cough. Cough. Isn't it? That's millions of lives. Eclair coughed, with a slight flash of water in her eyes, and said while covering her throat. Oh, then do you know how many people can die when the phoenix stones on your body are combined into one? You. How do you know about the phoenix stone? Hearing Lin Yan's words, Eclair subconsciously clenched the pendant on her slender neck and looked at Lin Yan nervously. I not only know that you have the phoenix stone on your body, but I also know that you are a witch of the phoenix family. Because of the sealed phoenix, you have lived for 400 years. Your memory has not returned yet. Do you know how the phoenix came to be in the first place? How did the phoenix come from? When Eclair heard Lin Yan's words, she froze in place, subconsciously recalling in her mind, but the intricate memories in her mind couldn't bring her any help at all, only the endless pain from her came to mind. Ah! I don't know. I can't remember, my head hurts. Seeing Ekalia's appearance, Lin Yan snapped her fingers casually, and a calming magic flashed across Ekalia's body, quickly freeing her from her headache. Since you don't know, then I'll tell you. The phoenix and the once brilliant good demon Nirvana are both used to deal with the dragon family. Dragon. Dragon race. Yes, the dragons bully humans, slaughter humans, tease humans, and treat humans like livestock, so people have been constantly researching and hoping to have magic that can destroy the dragons. This is the source of the phoenix. It was originally a creation of human beings, but after the efforts of generations, when this magic was created, human beings discovered it in horror. The power of this magic is simply too great. The power of the phoenix can completely destroy everything in this world. At that time, don't say it's the dragon family, and even humans will usher in their demise. Understood? This is the weapon that your ancestors created that perished with the dragons. It's just that people at that time were afraid of the power of the phoenix, so they sealed it up. This is the origin of the phoenix stone. You said that I was cruel to kill millions of people, but if I didn't save you, once the phoenix stone was easy, all the creatures in the world would die. At that time, it's all your responsibility. Even if I kill millions, I will save more people. Lin Yan said, the sneer at the corner of his mouth became more intense, and he lifted Akalia's smooth chin to let her look at him. Now, who do you think is more cruel? Eclair's dark eyes looked at Lin Yan, who was close at hand, and the originally agile eyes were now full of confusion. She didn't even know what to do. If everything Lin Yan said was true, the whole world's life would be on her shoulders. Thinking of the situation where the kingdom of Belonica snatched the phoenix stone and led to the destruction of the world, Eclair's heart couldn't help but throb, filled with fear. If it is just such a comparison, millions of people and the whole world will see the difference between them. Where? Chapter 85. But Eclair always felt that something was wrong, but she didn't know how to refute Lin Yan. Seeing Eclair's bewildered expression, Lin Yan chuckled and pointed. Albedo, let's go. Fully armed, the Valkyrie-like Albedo cast an indifferent glance at Eclair, who was still on the ground, and with a flick of her hand in the air, a pitch-black circular space portal opened in front of her. Seeing Lin Yan take a step towards the portal, Eclair stood up from the ground in a panic and shouted hastily. Lord Lin Yan! Sanju-san! Can Can you take me with you? Although Claire was a little confused by Lin Yan's words just now, she still wanted to do her best to stop it. Killing a country with millions of people at one time, it was too much to say. Yuan's who questioned Lin Yan's decision, you still want to? Alright, Albedo, if she wants to come, let's come together. Hearing Lin Yan's words, the frightening dim light under Albedo's helmet slowly extinguished, respectfully facing Lin Yan's back who had entered the portal. Yes, Lord Lin Yan. Claire looked at Albedo with some fear, and trotted into the portal with Meng Meng in her arms. As soon as she exited the portal, Klee was stunned by the scene in front of her. I saw that I was still in the room just now, but the next side actually came to a high mountain near the Principality of Belo-Nica. This angle is perfect to bring the entire Principality of Belo-Nica into sight. The Principality of Belo-Nica is not considered a powerful country on this continent, and its area is not very large. The entire country is surrounded by a circle of tall city walls, like a cage for captive livestock. It's not too late now. With Claire's eyesight, he can clearly see the lights of various colors flashing in the Principality of Belo-Nica. On the bustling streets, there are people coming and going, and the whole country looks peaceful and beautiful. Looking at the peaceful and beautiful smiles of people, Claire couldn't help but feel a little sad when she thought that these would soon be destroyed by the man in front of her. She ignored Albedo's warning to her before. She looked at Lin Yan whose hair was slightly swayed by the night wind, and said solemnly, "Are you really going to destroy this country? Don't you see the happy and beautiful expressions on their faces? This piece of living life, is it just like this? You lowly ant, the kindness of Lord Lin Yan is not the reason for you to provoke him again and again. If I hear any words from your mouth that question the decision of Lord Lin Yan, even if the adults punish me, I will kill you." Albedo, who had just come out of the portal, heard Akaria's words, and the angry flames in her heart immediately made her wave the axe in her hand and put it on Akaria's neck. The sharp axe blade instantly left a red bloodline on Claire's fair and tender skin, and droplets of blood seeped out from the bloodline at a speed visible to the naked eye. Feeling the slightest coolness coming from the neck, the slight tingling feeling was always warning Ekaya, as long as she said a word that was not in line with Albedo, she would immediately end up with 2 points. And when the two were deadlocked, the portal did not stop, and one figure after another kept walking out of it, lining up neatly behind Lin Yan. The Great Tomb of Nazarick, the 10 Blades of Destruction, the Sanctuary. The main forces of the 3 forces were still present. "Sir Lin Yan, everyone has arrived, please instruct." Shaltir carried the eyedropper long gun, walked behind Lin Yan and said respectfully with the clanging sound of the armor on her body. Although Albedo and Shaltir often fight for favor in front of Lin Yan, they are both very reliable when it comes to business affairs. Lin Yan stood on the edge of the mountain, feeling the night wind blowing from hunting, and his clothes were dancing in the wind. He looked at the people behind him who were waiting, showing a cold smile. "All right, Albedo, let her go. She's not as fragile as you think. As long as the phoenix is not destroyed, Claire won't die." "Yes, Mr. Lin Yan." Glancing at Claire bitterly, Albedo respectfully stepped aside. Lin Yan stretched out his hand and probed towards Akalia's neck. Seeing Lin Yan's movements, Akela subconsciously wanted to dodge. Can retreat, only to watch Lin Yan approach her. Claire didn't know what Lin Yan was going to do. She closed her eyes resignedly, and held Meng Meng tightly in her arms. Gently caressing the wound on Claire's neck, feeling the slow healing speed, Lin Yan's fingertips lit up with a touch of light, and the wound healed quickly under this light. Feeling the healing of her wound, Claire opened her eyes in surprise. Looking at her appearance, Lin Yan whispered close to her ear. Chapter 86. Looking at your unrepentant appearance, let me tell you one more thing for free. Claire was a little flustered by Lin Yan's sudden approach. Lin Yan's breathing made her even more uncomfortable, and her earlobes turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing Lin Yan's actions, Albedo and Shaltir behind them were even more jealous, and they looked at Claire as if they wanted to eat her up. The hand holding the weapon was clenched tightly and creaking. Your ancestor, the Land of Fire, disappeared after the creation of the Phoenix, and gradually evolved into the Village of Fire, guarding the Phoenix Stone divided into 2 pieces. And 400 years ago, the guy who destroyed your Village of Fire was actually the Principality of Belo-Nica. It was people from this country who killed your relatives and your friends. Because of them, you finally drank the blood of the Phoenix, took on this endless life and responsibility, and watched your friends lose one after another. You will always be alone, 14 is walking alone with everything on your back. They're actually the culprits behind everything you're grieving now. Having said that, Lin Yan looked at Claire with a half-smile expression on his face. Good girl, how are you feeling now? After hearing what Lin Yan said, Claire's eyes were originally full of agility due to anxiety, but at this moment she fell into a complete silence. Those godless eyes stared at Lin Yan in a daze, and did not move for a long time. Looking at Claire's appearance, Lin Yan smiled with satisfaction. Simple advice was of no use, and it was of no use to Lin Yan at all. After all, what does he want to do? Could a mere Claire with no power stop him? What he really wanted to see was the despairing expression that Claire had when she knew the truth of everything. The guy who was still begging for him just now is actually the culprit who really killed his relatives and made him bear the responsibility of a curse. This kind of psychological impact must be extremely exciting. Snapped. Lin Tian snapped his fingers crisply, and another huge black hole formed beside him, and a majestic bone flew out of the black hole. There are not many other things, such as bone dragons. When they fought against the dragons, I don't know how much Momanga made, but there are many in the entire Nazarick Great Tomb. Lin Yan stood on the body of the bone dragon, looking at the splendid principality of Belo Nica, immersed in laughter, a cold smile cracked at the corner of his mouth. Destroy this country and let the world feel my wrath. Yes. Lord Lin Yan. Following Lin Yan's order, the three major forces behind him responded in unison, and the majestic momentum that almost distorted the entire space suddenly erupted. To solve a duchy of Belo Nica, you don't need so many strong people at all, just let Albedo, Demiurge or a Silver Saint can easily crush it. But destroying the country, for Lin Yan, is not a key point. If someone dares to take action against him, then one has to, and if that is the case, then simply do 1 and 2, and use his absolute strength to announce to the whole world that after 400 years, Lin Yan has reappeared in the world. Just like what he just said, let the world feel his anger. Lin Yan stood on the bone dragon, flying in the sky, watching countless streamers with a powerful and unparalleled aura, heading towards the principality of Belo Nica, and beside him Ekalia was blank-eyed looking at it all. At the same time, the millions of people in the principality of Belo Nica still don't know anything. Hey, what is that? At this time, the people on the bustling streets were surprised to find that in the dark night in the sky, a lot of light spots flashing with various colors suddenly appeared, and they were flying rapidly in the direction of the principality of Belo Nica. Is it the fireworks that were celebrated in advance because the 400th anniversary of the founding of the country is about to be reported? It's such a strange firework. It actually flew down from the sky. Don't fireworks usually go up from childhood? You can know the thoughts of His Royal Highness Prince Stuart Croft, just take a good look at it. Just when the people on the street were talking with a curious look, Stuart Crofts in the palace received a report from his subordinates and hurriedly came to the balcony outside the room to watch the scene of falling like a shooting star. With a puzzled look on his face, he asked his subordinates. What the hell is that? Did someone of you arrange the fireworks? King. His Royal Highness. Subordinates don't know. I will report to you as soon as those things appear. In that case, wait for him to fall and send someone to investigate. Boom. Before Stuart Croft could speak, he saw a meteor-like object that fell from the sky and fell into the city, causing a huge roar. From the falling point of the light as the center, a violent explosion sounded instantly, and the violent airwave was like a tornado in transit, destroying all the surrounding buildings in an instant. Chapter 87. What? Help! Run! Run! With the meteor-like object hitting the streets of the Principality of Belo Nica, the shock wave that fell just completely destroyed the surrounding streets. And this is just the beginning. The entire Principality of Belo Nica, whether it is the palace, the streets, or the slums, is evenly taken care of by the meteors in the sky. In an instant, the Principality of Belo Nica fell into a monstrous fire. Just as people were running around in panic and shouting, wanting someone to save them, an even more desperate scene appeared in front of everyone's eyes. It turned out that what had fallen before was not a so-called meteor in the sky, nor any fireworks, but enemies one by one. People watched in shock, all kinds of guys walking out of the place where they just fell. Some are wearing peculiarly shaped battle armor, while others are not human at all. Looking at the apocalyptic scene in front of them, people's tense nerves collapsed in an instant, and the huge city was full of people running wildly. It was their desperate discovery that no matter where they fled, there would be unmatched enemies killing them. No matter whether it is an adult or a child, whether it is a wizard or a commoner, as long as it is our lives, no one can escape, and they are all slaughtered. For a time, the Principality of Below-Nica changed from the original peace and tranquility to chaos. At this moment, the killing unscrupulously showed his ferocity. Death is the master tonight. It's you who are as weak as ants, you dare to offend Lord Lin Yan. It's an unforgivable sin. Death is too kind to you. A clear and beautiful female voice came from the sky. If it was such a beautiful voice in normal times, it would definitely attract the attention of many people, but the coldness contained in the voice at this time can almost freeze the position of people's souls. The people who were fleeing in a hurry heard this voice and looked up at the sky subconsciously, only to see a woman with brown skin and blonde hair floating in the sky, looking at them coldly. This woman was the only female member of the 10 Blades of Destruction, Tia Haribel. I saw that she slowly pulled out the Zanpakut from her waist and pointed at the crowd below. Her delicate lips parted lightly, and she shouted, "Conquer him, Queen Shark!" Accompanied by Shijiu, the small Zanpakut in his hand began to slowly change shape in a burst of dazzling brilliance, from the original forearm-length blade to a heavy giant with a shark cheek pattern. Sword. Battle Shizuku. Tia Haribel let out a coquettish drink, and the shark-shaped giant sword in her hand suddenly surged with violent energy fluctuations. I saw a large amount of clear water suddenly poured out of the 3 shark-shaped lines, wrapping the tip of the sword. As Tia Haribel waved his arm, the water flow from the tip of the sword quickly condensed on the tip of the sword, like a cannonball, with a shrill whistling sound, and shot into the crowd in an instant. Boom! A huge roar suddenly sounded. It was clearly just a stream of water, but it was as if hundreds of kilograms of explosives had been detonated, and the entire street was torn apart by this blow. And the civilians who were fleeing for their lives there before, under this record, not even the corpse was left. Well, just as Tia Haribel was about to continue to attack, an extremely cold chill suddenly came from not far away, and Tia Haribel turned her head to look. I saw Cocytus' 4 sturdy arms, respectively holding 4 weapons with cold light and flickering magical aura, bringing bursts of scarlet blood rain in the crowd. "Tia, don't let the aftermath of your attack bother me." Cocytus' voice was low, he raised his huge feet wrapped in hard armor, and stomped the ground hard. Suddenly, a thick icicle rose from the ground and attacked Tia Haribel. The water waves of the aftermath suddenly froze. Tia Haribel snorted coldly when she saw this scene, and didn't bother to pay attention to him at all. She waved the shark gill-patterned giant sword in her hand and continued to chase and kill the fleeing people Zhu. On the other side of the Principality of Below-Nica, Albedo rode a pitch-black, heavily armored summoned cavalry beast, holding a giant axe that shone with cold light in his hand, and the giant axe in his hand was as light as nothing during the attack. Generally waving. The houses on both sides of the street, as well as the crowd of people running for their lives, were like pieces of paper, instantly turned into 2 halves. "How clumsy, Albedo, it seems that you are destined to be inferior to me this time." Honyo Zhao. Shaltir, who was wearing legendary equipment and wielding an artifact dropper spear, flew into the sky with a sneering expression, and mocked Albedo who was galloping on the ground. "Go away, you lamprey." "Ha? You Baichi, you look clumsy, but you are so embarrassed to talk about me?" The most powerful magic, Vermilion Nova. Shaltir's scarlet eyes suddenly burst into a dazzling light, and she swung her left hand towards the group of civilians who were fleeing in front of Albedo, and a crimson magic circle suddenly appeared in the air. The magic has not yet launched an attack, but the surrounding temperature has begun to heat up rapidly, and the group of people who fled were completely enveloped by a violent flame behind them in the blink of an eye. Chapter 88. Not only them, but all the forces under Lin Yan are using their powerful abilities recklessly to carry out slaughter. Bronze Saint Seiya, Pegasus Meteor Fist. Mare Bello Fiori, the earth is surging. Ulkireo Sifa, Black Void Flash. Grimjo Jacquard, Cricket, Leopard King. Wang Su's Flash. Gold Saint Aeria, Ion Light Speed Fist. Momanga, Magic Triple is the most powerful, 10,000 lightning strikes. Eisen Soyajuk, Break It. Attacks that are almost like bombardments, a steady stream of attacks descended on the small duchy of Below-Nica. The earth cracked, the city walls collapsed, and fires erupted. All this has turned this originally peaceful country into a place comparable to hell in an instant. His Royal Highness, hurry up and leave here. The guards in the palace can't stop those guys. Before they kill them, let's escort you out of here through the secret passage. Stuart Crofts stood on the balcony, staring blankly at everything in front of him. From the first meteor falling, to the development of this situation, it was only a short 2 or 3 minutes later, and the entire peaceful principality had already fallen and fell into the sky of fire. Stuart Crofts had no idea what all this was about, let alone why it happened, and he didn't even know who and where the outrageously powerful enemies came from. Why? Why attack us? Stuart Crofts' eyes were sluggish, and the domineering divine light in his eyes had long since vanished. Seeing his country being destroyed so little by others, but the feeling of being powerless, drove him crazy. All his pride and all his rights are built on the country of Nica. If it is destroyed now, then he will turn from a prince to a guy with nothing. It is obviously the 400th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China, and the remaining half of the Phoenix Stone that is left out is about to get it, but why does this happen? At this moment, Stuart Croft was full of anger in his heart. I don't care what method you use, let me destroy all those damned guys. Be sure to keep Nica for me. Don't give it to me yet. Stuart Croft's eyes were red, and he looked at the guard beside him with a grim look, and roared angrily. Seeing His Royal Highness's face so grim, the guard was shocked. He didn't dare to say more, and immediately turned around and ran outside, but as to whether he was going to defend the enemy or flee, it was unknown. Stuart Croft looked at the city where the explosions continued to explode, holding the edge of the balcony with both hands, and the bulging blue blood vessels on the back of the thin hands were clearly visible. He is now like a gambler who has lost the red eye. Nica must not give up, this is his last hope, the hope of obtaining the Phoenix Stone. In any case, be sure to keep Nica down. Ah, it looks like I've found the right place. Judging by what you're wearing, you should be the person with the highest status in this country, right? Suddenly, a soft and frivolous voice came from the top of Stuart Croft's head. Stuart Crofts, who heard the voice, was startled, and quickly released his hand from the balcony, without thinking to see who was talking. He turned around and was about to flee outside, shouting loudly at the same time. Guards! Guards! There are enemies here, come and protect me. Yo, I didn't expect you to be so timid, tisk tisk tisk, it's really distressing. But Mr. Lin Yan said, no one from this country will stay, let me play with you. Above the place where Stuart Crofts had just stood, at some point, a girl dressed as a maid with blonde hair and a delicate face appeared. Soliak Siong Epsilon looked at the back of Stuart Croft who was running away in a hurry, tilted his head and stretched out his slender fingers that were as pale and tender, and lightly tapped his red lips, revealing a cruel smile. This beautiful girl with the title of Dissolving Cage, a cannibal, walked leisurely with her round and slender legs, and chased after Stuart Crofts with a light smile. Lin Yan stood on the body of the bone dragon, looking at the completely fallen principality of Nica, the sneer at the corner of his mouth became more intense, he slowly raised his head and cast his eyes towards the sky. Under the darkness of the night, a bright moon is exuding the brilliance of yin-yang. However, Lin Yan's eyes were not placed on this, but into the dark night sky. Compared with the development in the original work, after 400 years of Lin Yan's intervention, various technologies are obviously more developed, and the biggest reliance of the Magic Council, the magic wizard power also has the ability to monitor like a satellite. At this moment, Lin Yan's sneering expression was clearly appearing in the Magic Council. Lin Yan in the scene seemed to say something to the sky at this time. Although the voice could not be heard, the meaning conveyed by that mouth shape still caused the entire Magic Council to fall into silence. I am back. Chapter 89. Seeing Lin Yan's provocative performance, everyone in the Magic Council had a solemn expression on their faces, their chests were as heavy as a boulder pressed against them, and they were almost breathless. If the previous Lin Yan was just like a salted fish every day, he played around with his female companion and lived a comfortable little life. Then after such a high-profile return, it is obviously impossible to continue the peaceful life before. Although everyone in the Magic Council had been prepared for a long time, they did not expect that Lin Yan would act so brutally. The Duchy of Nica, where millions of people live, will be directly destroyed. Rao was the opponent's first move, and it didn't cause too much damage, so Xiaoxi's punishment was enough, wouldn't it be enough? Is it necessary to destroy the country and slaughter so many innocent people? Looking at the scene, Lin Yan with a cruel smile on the corner of his mouth, for some reason, everyone in the Magic Council suddenly thought of the once mighty dragon clan. Presumably, the incomparably powerful dragon race gradually declined in this man's cold smile, right? Thinking of this, Gulindoma, the speaker of the new Magic Council, looked at several virtual images around him, with an angry look on his face, and said solemnly, "This is simply unforgivable. Even if he is the king who created a new era 400 years ago, he can't be so brutal. Millions of innocent people can be destroyed so easily. This kind of existence is a disaster for the current society. The Principality of Belonica provokes him, and he will destroy it, so who will be the next country? Do we have to watch so helplessly that he will destroy the peaceful and beautiful world?" Under Gulindoman's old face, he looked at the virtual image of a famous congressman with sharp eyes. His expression was serious and his tone was full of anger. Facing his words, the expressions of the other members were also very ugly. The role of the Magic Council is to monitor the powerful guilds to prevent them from doing things that endanger the society, and also to guard against the attacks of the dark guilds hiding in the dark. Protect the stability and peace of this society. The appearance of Lin Yan, for today's society, is like a small fish tank with a giant whale squeezed in. Even if it is just turned over, it may burst the fish tank, let the water in it run dry, and make other fish have no way to live. But do we want to issue a warrant directly and send someone to arrest him? One of the congressmen, Ago, looked at the screen with a very ugly face, and Belonica, who was being destroyed, said in a hoarse voice. If it were anyone else, the Magic Council would have caught it. After all, as an organization that monitors major guilds, the Magic Council's power is not weak, otherwise it wouldn't be so detached. Without a bit of strength, how could it be possible to meddle in other people's business, and how could it be possible to protect the peace of society? But Rao is like this. When he saw that Lin Yan's subordinates easily destroyed the entire Belonica, Ago couldn't help but beating in his heart. With the power of the Magic Council alone, can Lin Yan and his subordinates be captured together? Although from the monitoring, it seems that the power does not seem to be strong enough to be irresistible, but that is the force that will defeat the Dragon Clan after all. Moreover, Lin Yan hadn't made a move yet. If they really fought each other, Ouge couldn't even imagine that scene. Needless to say, it would definitely be a complete defeat for the Magic Council. Hearing Ouge's words, the expressions of the other congressmen were also not much better. Everyone was smart, and many problems were clear at one point. With the strength of their Magic Council alone, can they really compete with Lin Yan? If Lin Yan now knew what everyone in the Magic Council was thinking, he would have laughed out loud. These guys who have not experienced the era of the Dragon Clan, but have seen the power of the Dragon Clan, still want to send someone to arrest Lin Yan. It is really a joke. As I said before, if you don't want to announce your return in a high-profile manner, then a small, weak country like the Principality of Belonica, even Albedo or just any silver-level Saint Seiya can easily bring it down. It's destroyed. Moreover, in this battle to destroy the country, everyone under Lin Yan subconsciously exerted their efforts in order to accidentally hurt them, but it was just a simple slaughter. If you want to say it, if you don't say 1/10, you don't even show 1% of the power. Gulindoma looked at the virtual images of the congressmen in front of him, and while he was indignant, he had to admit that what they said was a fact. If you want to send someone to arrest Lin Yan, just not to mention how strong Lin Yan is who didn't take action, even when his subordinates have shown themselves, it is not something that Magic Council can compete with. But this is not the reason for their Magic Council to back down. No matter what, we must remove Lin Yan, an uncertain factor that threatens social stability. Gulindoma in pink pajamas looked very ridiculous, but the next sentence made the congressman's face change drastically. Where? Chapter 90. In the name of the chairman of the Magic Council, I have decided to activate the magic power, attack like Lin Yan, and destroy it completely. Gulindoma's words were like dropping a boulder toward the calm water, instantly causing an uproar in the hearts of the members of Congress. Are you crazy? You want to use the magic power? Don't you know how powerful it is? Once the magic wizard power is used, everything around it will be destroyed. That is a taboo magic that can easily destroy a country. That's right, it must not be used easily until the last dangerous moment. Second, we can't implicate more innocent people in 397 because of Lin Yan. Looking at the face distorted by excitement on the face of a famous congressman, a heavy look flashed on Gulindoma's old face, but he did not show any backwardness. I know all your worries, but don't you think now is the best chance? The virtual image of Gulindoma stretched out his hand and pointed to the screen under surveillance. The whole Belonica was like a helpless girl who was bullied wantonly. Fire, Explosion, killing. All kinds of violent things happened one by one in this country. With our ability, we have no way to save the people of the Principality of Baronica. Maybe when we arrive, we will only be left with broken walls and dead bodies. Are you willing to do this? Are the people who died innocently because of being implicated? As the speaker, I must know the power of the magic wizard power, and I also know that once used, the affected area will cause a lot of accidental injuries. But I want to avenge these innocent people, and I want to eliminate this unstable factor. Now all of Lin Yan's subordinates, as well as himself, are in Baronica. As long as we activate the magic wizard power and shoot it at this place, then everything will be over. Gulandoma's eyes were red, and he looked at several members of the Congress with a grim expression, acting like a madman. As long as the magic power is needed, no one will sacrifice for it, and the society will return to peace, isn't it good? If you have any concerns, then all the responsibilities will be borne by me. In the Magic Council, Gulandoma's voice echoed quietly in the wide hall, and the impassioned voice made the other councillors fall into silence. The magic wizard power is a strategic weapon owned by the Magic Council. The magicians with multiple attributes gather their strength together, and use the transcendental time and space destruction magic launched by the satellite magic circle. The power is enough to destroy a country. This is an important weapon for the Magic Council to deter all forces, and it is also an unspeakable stain on the Magic Council. Because it was misled by the enemy before, it was fired once. Since then, the Magic Council has not less been criticized by various forces. After all, no one wants to have a sword of Damocles hanging over their head all the time. Because of this matter, Magic Council has made various guarantees to the outside world. However, it was not long before the last incident, and the magic wizard power was activated again, which made these members of parliament not hesitate. What the hell are you still hesitating about? Do you want to watch him destroy Baronica like this, then pat the dust and go away like this? You. Needless to say, Gulandoma, I agree with his idea on this point, and I also apply to activate the magic wizard power to attack Lin Yan. Before Gulandoma's words were finished, Michelo, who was beside him, raised his hand, seconded Gulandoma's proposal, and voted in favor. Lin Yan is a person who shouldn't appear in our era. His era is over. Death is his best destination. If he doesn't die, the whole society will be turbulent. Michelo looked at the other congressmen who were hesitant, and said with a firm expression. Isn't our Magic Council founded to protect the peace of society? What are you still hesitating about? The virtual image of Ogo looked at Gulandoma and Michelo hesitantly. After a long silence, he raised his hand and said hoarsely. I agree. Seeing that Ouge finally made a decision, the remaining members glanced at each other, the hesitant expressions in their eyes flashed away, and they all nodded resolutely and said solemnly. Seconded. Seconded. A voice of approval, full of belief in the hearts of everyone. Gulandoma looked at the firm look on the congressman's face, and a gratified smile appeared on his old face. As the speaker, I announce that it is the activation of the magic wizard power, the target, the Principality of Baronica, Lin Yan. With Gulandoma's stern shout full of excitement and anger, the entire Magic Council moved quickly like a tightly running instrument. Countless members, after receiving instructions from their sleep, were woken up by their companions and hurriedly put on their clothes and rushed towards the headquarters. In the originally deserted Magic Council, a lively scene suddenly appeared, and the magic wizard power in the sky also began to change slowly. Chapter 91. Magic Spirit Power, start charging. 5%. 10%. Following Gulandoma's order, countless magicians from the Magic Council who came from their sleep gathered together and began to move towards the crystal ball that was hidden in the bottom and powered the magic spirit power. Infuse magic. Wind, fire, earth, water, the magic of the four elements, under the combined force of everyone, like a surging tide, rushing towards the magic crystal. Lights of cyan, red, yellow, and blue shone throughout the entire Magic Council. The light gathered by the huge magic power was as dazzling as a sun rising slowly from the ground in this dark night sky. The madly gathered magic power set off a violent tide of magic power in the whole city, wrapped in huge magic elements, and poured into the crystal without interruption. At this moment, the entire Magic Council seemed to be submerged in a sea of magic. The magic that almost condenses into reality is full of dangerous beauty. The power of the magic wizard power is huge, and a single blow can easily destroy a kingdom, but it is more troublesome to recharge it. You must know that this kind of lethal weapon, except for the Magic Council, no guild or kingdom can control it, because there is simply no way to make up such a large number of magicians to replenish magic power. The magic spirit power without magic power is nothing but a useless magic circle. Looking at the crystal ball that collects the magic power of the 4 extruded elements, it is constantly charging, and the fluctuations caused by the majestic power can't help but make people's minds rippling. This scene is so beautiful, isn't it? Gurindoma looked at the crystal ball shining with magic light and huge power, and the eyes in the virtual image seemed to be deeply excited. In the face of this terrifying power, no one will not admire it and yearn for it. But it's also a symbol of destruction, isn't it? Mikhail looked at Gurindoma and said in a lonely tone. That's why it needs to be in our hands, for the stability of this society. Gurindoma's expression was full of resolute eyes and a hint of determination. What Michelo said was not wrong. Behind the beautiful light of the magic wizard was hiding a terrifying danger. It is not a lie that a single blow can destroy a kingdom. It should be clear here that it is the destruction of a kingdom, not a principality like Baronica. Take the kingdom of Fiori as an example, the actual area is quite a few times that of Baronica. One shot of the magic wizard power is enough to destroy the entire duchy of Baronica, over and over again. If the power displayed by Lin Yan really shocked Gurindoma and others, he would definitely not use such a terrifying weapon. After all, in terms of Lin Yan's current strength, let alone the Principality of Baronica, the Kingdom of Fiori plus all the guilds, I am afraid it is not its opponent. Only with the power of the magic wizard, can it be hoped that it will be completely erased from this world. The charging has been completed by 50%. It is expected to be launched in 2 minutes, and the target has been locked. Listening to the voice from the console, Gurindoma nodded, looked at the other councillors with a serious look, and said solemnly. No matter what the result of this time is, it is my responsibility to use the magic spirit power, so after this incident, I will take the blame and resign, and in the future, I will ask you all. No matter what the reason for the magic council was, the magic wizard power was like an X-bomb, and the most important thing was not its power, but its deterrent. Without any power, a country would hope to have a magic council that often activates the power of magic wizards, but Gurindoma would not hesitate to sacrifice himself in order to eradicate the uncertain factor of Lin Yan. The rest of the deputies, listening to Gulindoma's words, silently expressed their respect towards the Bao. For all this, there must be a person to take the corresponding responsibility. Magic Council can't bear the blame, only Gurindoma has this qualification. Magic Spirit Power Charge is 80% complete. It is expected to launch in 30 seconds. Everyone, let us witness this moment together. The old era of the past should be let him sleep in the past. Now, it is a new era that 400 us created together. I will never allow others to interfere. Gurindoma spoke impassively, his chest-length beard fluttering slightly. Magic Spirit Power recharged. Pray to the Holy Light, liberate the magic power, target Lin Yan, the Principality of Baronica, launch. The heavy and hoarse voice suddenly sounded in the Magic Council. With Gulindoma's old voice, the whole air seemed to be still in an instant, and in the eyes of everyone's nervousness, the crystal that gathered all the magic power of everyone was shining brightly. A mass of wind, fire, earth, and water, condensed by the 4 elements, pure magic, like a sun shining with pure light, slowly rising from the ground, towards the magic guide floating in the sky. The magic circle of spirit power left. The huge momentum and strong magic fluctuations caused all the magicians in the Fiori kingdom to wake up from their sleep and look at the energy ball flying towards the sky in horror. Chapter 92. What happened? Heaven! What is that terrifying thing in the sky? Magic! That's magic wizard power. The guys of the Magic Council, what are you thinking about? Why do you activate the magic spirit power? Who is it? Who is the Magic Council going to deal with? It's actually going to use the magic power. The people who were awakened by this majestic magic power wave looked at the rising magic power group in the sky, and their hearts were full of shock. All those who knew the power of magic wizards felt like a tsunami had been triggered in their hearts when they saw this scene, and their horrified emotions were like waves, eroding their hearts one after another. Magical spirit power and X-bombs have the same status in people's hearts. Magic Council will not use weapons of this level easily. Once they are used, it means that the development of the situation has reached an uncontrollable point. It is necessary to use this power to completely destroy it. What are these uneasy guys doing? Makarov Driar, with a thin shirt on his shoulders, stood in front of the window, watching the magical light group that was rapidly rising into the air, disappearing into the clouds. His old face was full of seriousness. On both sides of the clothes, the thin and old arms trembled slightly. Obviously, the emotions inside were not as calm as they appeared on the surface. It's not just him, in the entire Fiori kingdom, Blue Pegasus, Quattro Cerberus. The presidents of the major guilds looked at the strange scenery in the sky, and their faces were heavy. Now, I'm afraid the world will fall into chaos. After that light group containing enormous power, after breaking through the layers of clouds, it rushed into the magic wizard power in the sky like a swallow. After receiving this huge magic power, the magic spirit power in the sky began to change in an instant. Above the overlapping golden magic circles, 4 magic circles of different colors, representing different types of elements, suddenly appeared in the sky. The majestic energy quickly began to condense in the air, and the free magic elements in the sky swarmed towards the magic circle as if they had been summoned. The dazzling light, even on the distant clouds, people on the ground can clearly see, the dazzling luster illuminates the dark night sky. At this time in the Principality of Belonica, Lin Yan looked at the changes in the sky, felt the majestic power, and the feeling of being locked, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but raise a cold smile. It seems that I underestimated them. I didn't expect to move so fast, and I really have the determination to use the magic spirit power. However, Lin Yan, who was locked by the magic wizard power, did not have the slightest expression on his face because of this terrifying power, as if locking himself was not the ability to destroy the world and wipe out the magic wizard power of a kingdom, but it's like an ant. The terrifying changes in the sky continued. Not only Lin Yan, but even the subordinates below who were destroying the Principality of Belonica also sensed this enormous power. Albedo slashed a guard of the Principality from head to tail with an axe, and turned to look at the vision in the sky. Those eyes that were covered by the helmet suddenly flashed a ferocious red. As a powerful being in the great tomb of Nazarick, she was naturally a target who could clearly feel the power of the magic wizard. This target is none other than Lin Yan, her master. These goddamn ants, how dare you attack Lord Lin Yan? Albedo looked at the magic wizard power in the sky, and couldn't help but feel anger in her heart. She couldn't wait to find out the black hand hidden behind the scenes and kill it completely. But now is not the time to do this. Albedo flicked the giant axe in her hand and put it in her carry-on storage space, like a sturdy female leopard, swiftly moving towards Lin Yan's position. The rush to the tongue. Sister Shaltir, aren't you going? Albedo has already rushed over. The bug girl Edoma Basi Liza Zeta looked at the figure of Albedo hurriedly leaving, and said while looking at Shaltir. What did I do in the past? Although that Baichi is rough and savage, but in terms of our big tomb, no one is stronger than her, and that attack is nothing at all. This time, let it be for her. What? Shaltir spoke lightly, but the dropper spear in her hand danced more and more fiercely, and wherever she went, whether it was civilians, mages, or soldiers of the Principality, they all turned into mummy, dissipated in the air. Seeing Shaltir's expression of venting anger, Insect Girl spread her hands helplessly, looking at the guys who were killed by Shaltir with regret. She had originally thought of letting Shaltir and Albedo leave together, otherwise with Shaltir by her side, she wouldn't even be able to eat any meat. The idea that I could have a full meal has now been completely shattered. And Albedo, who had already left, finally arrived at Lin Yan's side before the magic spirit power was launched. Chapter 93. Lord Lin Yan, I. Hearing Albedo's slightly anxious tone, Lin Yan had a faint smile on his face, as if he didn't take the current situation to heart at all. Albedo, you seem to be in a hurry. Lord Lin Yan, that thing in the sky has locked you, I'm afraid. Before he finished speaking, the dazzling magic circle in the sky suddenly burst into a ray of light comparable to the sun, and the night became as dazzling as the day in an instant. The entire sky was shrouded in this dazzling light. The violent magic element makes everyone present clearly feel it. After receiving Lin Yan's order, he was slaughtering the subordinates of the Principality of Belonica, and subconsciously raised his head and looked into the sky. I saw an incomparably huge beam of light in the sky, like a sharp sword from behind the clouds, heading towards Lin Yan standing on the 400-bone dragon. Go ahead and leave me alone. With a smile on her face, Lin Yan commanded calmly. Hearing Lin Yan's order, and Albedo standing beside her, everyone below said nothing and continued to slaughter everyone in the Principality of Belonica. The beam of light glowed with azure blue light, as pure as the most precious blue crystal, but the majestic magical aura contained in it made this beauty full of danger. The moment she saw the beam of light, Albedo's pretty face under the helmet turned cold. Damn ants, how dare you do something to Lord Lin Yan? Just listening to a coquettish shout, Albedo's body burst into violent energy instantly, and the dark purple light spread from her whole body. This stunning beauty with the strongest defense in the great tomb of Nazarick, who can be called the shield of Nazarick, really showed her edge at this moment. Just as Albedo was about to activate her skills to resist the attack of the magic spirit power, a calm and magnetic voice sounded. You don't have to do, Albedo, you don't need to care about the mere resistance of the ants. Saying that, Lin Yan stretched out his hand and pulled Albedo into his arms. Feeling the warmth in Lin Yan's embrace, a red glow suddenly appeared on Albedo's face under the helmet, and the armor on her body disappeared in an instant. She resumed her sexy long white dress, and still snuggled up like a bird in Lin Yan's arms. Seemingly very shy about Lin Yan's behavior in front of everyone's eyes, the pair of dark wings behind Albedo couldn't help but flutter slightly, expressing panic in her heart. Row is that the two have already had a negative distance contact, but in front of Lin Yan, Albedo is still as shy as a girl who has just met. Want to watch fireworks? Albedo. Looking at the beauty in his arms, Lin Yan glanced lightly at the attack of the magic wizard power that was rushing over his head, and asked with a smile. 1. It's all up to Lord Lin Yan to make the decision. Albedo buried her face tightly in Lin Yan's arms, her eyes flashing with admiration, and said softly. Lin Yan chuckled lightly, holding Albedo in his arms with his left hand, looking at the beam of light that was already close at hand, his eyes were full of disdain. He slowly raised his right hand, his index finger was slightly bent, and he flicked out the power from the magic wizard in an understatement. At the same time, all the people in the Magic Council also looked nervously at the picture captured by the surveillance on the magic wizard power. Although they all have full confidence in the power of the magic spirit power. But what they are facing is not an ordinary guy, but a powerhouse who created an era 400 years ago and destroyed the dragon family. What the outcome was, whether Lin Yan was shattered, or was seriously injured and dying, all these closely related to their hearts. It must be successful. On Gulan Doma's old face, he stared at the picture in front of him, his slightly cloudy eyes, which were even more bloodshot because of excitement. But when it touched thousands of people's emotions like this, the indifferent smile on Lin Yan's face, as well as his calm appearance, made everyone's heart sink, and a bad premonition came to them. The next second, the magic wizard power exploded, heading towards Lin Yan. That majestic beam of light, carrying everyone's hopes, slammed into Lin Yan under everyone's attention. Success! We won! The moment the beam of light hit Lin Yan, everyone in the Magic Council couldn't help cheering. In their opinion, no one in this world could survive under the power of the magic wizard. However, reality often likes to joke with people, and the cheering just stopped abruptly before it lasted for a few seconds. The entire Magic Council, the people who saw the surveillance footage, were like ducks strangled by their necks, sluggishly watching the surveillance footage. The scene was dead silent. In the picture, at the moment when the beam of light hit Lin Yan raised his hand lightly and flicked his fingers towards the majestic beam of light. Those slender fingers, in front of this beam of light, were so insignificant that they couldn't be more insignificant, like a man's arm acting as a car. But the next picture made everyone's heart set off a storm. It turns out that the man's arm is a car, it can really be successful. Chapter 94. The magic wizard power, which can destroy a kingdom and can be called the ultimate weapon of the Magic Council, was directly bounced off by Lin Yan with a single index finger under the watchful eyes of everyone. As if the thick and terrifying beam of light full of violent magic power was the mantra's arm that did not measure itself, Lin Yan was unmoved by this attack in front of him, and dismissed it lightly. Seeing this scene, everyone in the entire Magic Council fell silent. It's not that they don't want to talk, but they really don't know what to say when faced with a shocking and horrifying scene. A terrorist attack that could destroy even a kingdom was actually deflected by a finger. How powerful is this man in the surveillance screen? This question is like a storm that has swept through everything, raging in the hearts of everyone in the Magic Council. The entire Magic Council fell into a dead silence at this moment, as if time had stood still, and everyone's mind was blank. The scene in the surveillance screen did not stop because of the shock of everyone. The beam of light that penetrated the sky, after Lin Yan's finger popped out, was like a refracted light beam, and shot straight into the sky in the distance. Boom! The beam of light that contained surging power, under Lin Yan's shot, was like a headless fly, being teased in the palm of his hand. After bursting out a very long distance, it exploded in the air. The terrifying and violent magic power revealed its terrifying power at this moment. The energy concentrated to the extreme suddenly exploded, giving birth to astonishing light and heat. The surrounding clouds were scattered by this astonishing explosion. The clamor of explosions, wrapped in surging air waves, swayed circle after circle of ripples in the sky, and white air waves swept everything from far to near like a tsunami. The scorching airflow, even if Lin Yan and others were so far away, could clearly feel it. The violent hurricane is like the giant palm of the gods sweeping through time, and everything it goes has turned into ashes. The entire ground, in front of this fierce and surging aftermath, trembled wildly, looking at the original lush woods and hills of different heights. All of them vanished into nothing, and even the ground was flattened and sunk deeply, forming a very deep pit. This is just an explosion in the sky. If it really landed on the ground, I am afraid that the earth will be penetrated by it. As expected of a weapon that can easily destroy a kingdom. Looking at the mushroom cloud slowly rising in the distance, and the dazzling white light level terrifying air waves, Lin Yan said slowly with a flat smile on his face. Albedo, do you still like these fireworks? Snuggling in Lin Yan's arms, Albedo watched the astonishing explosion in the distance, and her golden eyes showed her inner tenderness like water. Lin Yan's reflection is filled with big watery eyes, clearly visible. My subordinates like it very much, thank you, Mr. Lin Yan. The flush on his face was even more charming and moving against the background of the explosion in the distance. If it weren't for the numerous subordinates below, Albedo would even want to be favored by Lin Yan here. There is no woman who doesn't like romance, and for Albedo, who is a demon, what could be more touching than this violent explosion and fireworks? This is Lin Yan, specially prepared for her alone. Shaltir, who was beheading the civilians of the Principality of Balo Nica below, looked at Albedo who was leaning against the ancient dragon in Lin Yan's arms, and a flash of indignant jealousy flashed in her eyes. Where is there any thought to slaughter with insect girl here, and immediately rose to the sky with a cold face and flew towards Lin Yan. Seeing Shaltir leave with a cold face, insect girl covered her mouth and let out a silver bell-like laughter, looking at the commoners who were looking at her with a look of fear in front of her, her eyes filled with joy. Lord Shaltir is finally gone, I can have a good meal. When the aftermath of the explosion reached Lin Yan from a distance, it was no longer as violent as before, but his and Albedo's clothes were still rattling in the wind. If ordinary people are in front of this aftermath, I am afraid that they will be blown away long ago. However, the strength of Lin Yan and his subordinates were all extremely strong, so naturally they would not care about this little disturbance. Shaltir faced the gust of wind and landed on the bone dragon. Seeing Albedo with a happy face, she couldn't help but burst into anger. Looking at Albedo coldly, she said coldly. How long are you going to stay in Lord Lin Yan's arms, you big-mouthed orangutan? Albedo fluffed her hair charmingly, looked at Shaltir who was angry and sneered. What's the matter, Lamprey, are you jealous of the fireworks that Lord Lin Yan prepared for me? Hearing Albedo's words, Shaltir clenched the tender white palm holding the dropper spear even more tightly, and the blue blood vessels were clearly visible under the fair skin. It was clearly an attack against Lord Lin Yan, but he said it was fireworks prepared for her, this shameless gorilla. Shaltir looked at Albedo's expression, her heart was burning with anger, and even the Magic Council who attacked Lin Yan was deeply hated by her. Where? Chapter 95. No. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Just when Shaltir was still arguing with Albedo for jealousy, in the Magic Council, Gurindoma watched Lin Yan put his arms around Albedo under the surveillance with a calm expression, like a cat whose tail was trampled, she screamed absent-mindedly. The hand that was holding the beard tightly because of the tension twitched suddenly. The beard, which he had been taking care of and cherished for a long time, couldn't bear the damage, and it fell to the ground in strands. Gurindoma seemed to be unable to feel the pain. He stared at the surveillance screen sluggishly. His old face seemed to have grown even older in an instant, and his tall and straight body couldn't help but hunched down. How could this be possible? Why doesn't the magic wizard power work? Why is 400? Gurindoma's hoarse roar resounded in the dead silence of the Magic Council, breaking the silence. Not only Gurindoma was emotional and nearly collapsed, everyone who saw this scene looked at Lin Yan in the picture with disbelief. No one would have imagined that after the launch of the magic wizard power, such a result would actually happen. What is the magic power? The magic wizard power is the Magic Council's deterrent to all forces, and the sword of Damocles hanging on everyone's heads is the ultimate strategic weapon. The greatest magic invented since 400 years ago. Whether it is the Dark Guild or the Dragon Clan, the Magic Council has absolute confidence in the power of magic wizards. It is impossible for anyone to survive under the suffocating power of the magic wizard power. This is not just them, it is the common cognition of everyone, otherwise the major powers will not be afraid of the Magic Council because of this. But this is the ultimate weapon that makes countless people fear and dread. In front of Lin Yan, it is as ridiculous as a child's toy. At least a child's water gun can wet clothes. What can the magic wizard power do? Set off fireworks? According to the influence of the surveillance screen, although Lin Yan said to Albedo, although he couldn't breathe, everyone could still see it clearly due to the change in the shape of his mouth. Lin Yan didn't take the magic wizard power seriously at all, and really regarded it as a huge fireworks and dedicated it to his girlfriend. No. None of this is true. Not true. Gurindoma lowered his head, his old face flushed red because of this unbelievable reality, and he kept roaring in a low voice. Gurin. Looking at Gulindoma's appearance, Michelo was about to say something when he saw him suddenly raised his head, his turbid eyes were now bloodshot and red. Vaguely, there is a crazy look flashing. There must have been something wrong just now. The power of the magic spirit power has not been exerted. Everyone do it again. Again. Concentrate the magic and fire it again like Lin Yan. Gulindoman's gnashing voice squeezed out from between his teeth fiercely, like a demon from hell, full of naked malice. Are you crazy, Gulin? Hearing Gulindoma's words, several members of parliament on the side looked at him in shock. For the entire Magic Council, the magic wizard power is the strongest attack method, and it is the existence of the final word. And Gulindoma actually thought about launching it again. Considering the strength of the magicians of the Magic Council, he was afraid that the magic power would be completely drained and even his body would be damaged. I'm mad. Looking at the eyes of Mikaro and the others, a frantic smile appeared on Gulindoma's face. Obviously, Lin Yan's biggest reliance on the magic power was so easily solved by Lin Yan. It had a strong impact on this old man who was already over the age of 10, and even subverted his 3 views, making his mind almost collapse. I think you are crazy. If you don't take this opportunity to kill Lin Yan, do you think he will let us go in the future? After today, what awaits us is his crazy revenge. By that time, do you think you can resist? Gulindoma's hoarse roar was like a heavy hammer smashing into the hearts of all the members present. But the attack just now had no effect on him at all. No. There must be a problem with the power of the magic wizard. Try again and again, it will be successful. Gulindoma was unwilling to believe that Lin Yan had such a despairing strength, constantly deceiving himself and roaring, deceiving himself that everything was wrong with the magic wizard power just now. Seeing Gurindoma's appearance, the other members of the assembly also fell into silence. They knew very well in their hearts that Gurindoma could not be beaten, so he would say such self-deceiving words, but why was it unreasonable? Just being attacked, Lin Yan wiped out the entire country of Belo Nica. Since he and others have attacked him, what awaits them is an endless situation. Only the demise of one party is the real end. And the magic wizard power is already the strongest attack in the entire Magic Council, and it is also their last and only hope. Even if they knew in their hearts that there was a problem with the magic wizard power just now, it was Gurindoma's self-delusional idea, but they couldn't help but want to try again. Even if there is only a small chance, it is still a glimmer of hope, which is better than Lin Yan finally calling the door. Thinking of this, the congressman looked at Gulindoman's frantic appearance with complicated expressions, and was obviously silent. After a long while, Michaelo looked at the crowd and said slowly. This is the end of the matter, and we have no way out. Now it's an endless situation. Regardless of whether it works or not, I also want to try to launch the magic wizard power again. Mikaro's voice rang in the ears of everyone, and the remaining members of the council also nodded silently in agreement at this time. Now the entire Magic Council is a grasshopper on a rope. When Lin Yan's revenge comes, no one can escape. There is only hope in this attack. They hope that Lin Yan's previous response is not as easy as it seems, so that this attack can be effective. With the consent of all the members, the Magic Council, which seemed to be at a standstill, took action once again. Chapter 96. Everyone starts to prepare for the second round of offense. Ready to recharge. The orders were issued one by one, and all the wizards of the Magic Council who received the order were full of horrified emotions. What's going on here? Isn't the power of a single blast of magic wizard power not enough to destroy the target? That is magic wizard power. The power that can destroy a kingdom with a single blow has not destroyed the target. Who is the other party? This kind of power, even the dragon race that once dominated the world, is not enough to resist. Who are they fighting against? Endless doubts spread in the hearts of the magicians at the bottom, and the depressing atmosphere made everyone feel like they were pressing a huge rock, and even their actions could not help but become sluggish. After all, you have to know that the magic elf power just took away most of the magic power from their bodies, and now everyone's body is full of exhaustion. Fatigue and anxiety and fear in the heart made the entire magic council fall into a negative atmosphere. Seeing such a passive and panicked attitude of the low-ranking players, Lahar, who was wearing glasses, was also apprehensive. Comparing with these low-level team members who do not know what enemy they are fighting with, Lahar, as the 4th Forcible Supervision Unit Commander, can naturally learn more information. And in the surveillance, Lin Yan flicked the screen of the magic wizard power, and he also saw it clearly. Facing Lin Yan's godlike might, Lahal's emotions were not much better. However, as a high-ranking member of the Magic Council, he naturally couldn't be in a mess. If they all panic, then the following will only be more panic. Move, let me move. Hurry up. Take all the time to charge the magic power. Now you are the Magic Council's last hope, no matter what, you must activate the magic power again. The enemy has been severely damaged by the magic wizard, and he can be killed once again. Lahul stood on the high platform and looked at the terrified wizards below. His face was full of impassioned expressions, and it was completely different from the appearance of Liswin in the past. As long as we persevere, it is our victory. Looking at the wizards who had regained their fighting spirit under his own encouragement, there was a deep bitterness on the corner of Lahar's mouth. As for whether the magic spirit power can work this time, Rahul is very clear that this is just a self-delusional fantasy. But even so, there is nothing they can do. To the Magic Council, the magic power is like a straw caught by a drowning person. No matter how slim the hope is, go ahead and give it a try. Magic spirit recharge begins. 5%. 10%. Alert. Alert. The magic spirit power is continuously fired, overloaded, and the charging time is longer than estimated. On the podium, the sorcerer who was in charge of manipulating the power of the magic wizard, his face was pale and cold sweat kept falling from his forehead. This is the first time that the magic wizard power has been continuously fired since its construction. This kind of powerful strategic level weapon, fired continuously, is naturally huge for its load. A red light full of warnings flashed constantly on the podium. The flickering red light made the atmosphere in the command room even more tense. Looking at the Principality of Belo-Nica, which had come to an end, the final stage, Gurren Doman's thin hands couldn't help but clenched tightly, and his forehead even burst into blue veins due to nervousness. Hurry up! Hurry up! If Lin Yan was still in the Principality of Belo-Nica, he could not launch the magic wizard power, and if Lin Yan left, I'm afraid there would be no chance again. No matter how the Magic Council wanted to kill Lin Yan, they couldn't launch it at a densely populated place, sacrificing innocent people. Be sure to catch up, and charge me faster. Gulin Doma looked at the surveillance screen with a grim expression. Although it was only a virtual image, the anxious mood was clearly expressed, and even several members around him were affected. He clenched his fists subconsciously and stared at the monitor. Yi. Mr. Speaker, this is already the limit of speed. The magic wizard power is running at an overload. If it is faster, I am afraid that irreversible consequences will occur. The sorcerer on the podium who was in charge of manipulating the magic spirit power was not much better at this time. Facing the constant urging of Gurren Doma, he was helpless. The magic wizard force is not a weapon that can be fired continuously. This time it is forcibly activated. I am afraid that it will take a lot of time to readjust and correct it. Hearing the voice of his subordinates, although Gurren Doma was very anxious, there was no good way. He also knew in his heart that this was a hardship for a strong man. But this is related to the turmoil of the whole society and the future of the Magic Council, how could he not be in a hurry? 25% charged. 30% charged. It is expected to launch in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Be sure to delay this time, and be sure to launch successfully. All 400's hearts are stunned at this moment. The Principality of Belo-Nica has now been reduced to ruins, and there is not much time to delay. Once the entire Principality of Belo-Nica is completely destroyed, with the ability of Lin Yan and others to come and go without a trace, there will be no more chance. At this time, Lin Yan, who was far away in the Principality of Belonica, was watching with interest Albedo and Shaltir, who were arguing because of jealousy. I have to say that watching two girls with peerless looks, quarreling because of their own jealousy, is also a lot of fun. Okay, it's almost time, let's leave at the end. After all, there is always a bed bug around, which is somewhat disappointing. Sir Lin Yan, is it the guy who attacked you just now? Let Shaltir clean them up, they will definitely feel the deepest fear. Hearing Lin Yan's words, Shaltir didn't care about arguing with Albedo, she said coquettishly at Lin Yan with a charming smile, but the anger in those scarlet eyes was undisguised and clear. Visible. After all, if it wasn't for those who were hiding in the dark, how could it be possible for Albedo to take such a big advantage and enjoy the favor of Lord Lin Yan? For this, Shaltir can be said to be extremely jealous and resentful. Chapter 97. Seeing the look in Shaltir's eyes, Lin Yan rubbed her head amusedly, and a cold smile cracked at the corner of his mouth. No hurry, the world is so big, and when you come across an interesting toy, you naturally have to play it slowly, and it will be ruined at once, so it will be very boring in the future. Having said that, Lin Yan glanced at the subordinates who had almost destroyed the entire Principality of Belonica and said solemnly, Iolia, I'll leave the rest of the finishing touches to you. Let this piece of ruins be completely thrown away. I don't want to see anything about Baronica that exists in this world. Iolia, a Leo in the Golden Zodiac, heard Lin Yan's words, and immediately bowed and saluted. It's Mr. Lin Yan, my subordinates will definitely live up to your expectations. The others will go back first. Following Lin Yan's indifferent command, the rest of the group, except for Iolia, who stayed to guard, saluted Lin Yan, and then broke through the space and left, waiting for Lin Yan's next call. Under the attack of a powerful subordinate of Lin Yan, the entire Principality of Belonica was already in ruins and turned into a pile of rubble, and what Iolia has to do is to completely remove this piece of rubble from this world. And let it turn into powder. Just as he was talking, Lin Yan suddenly raised his head and looked into the deep night sky. He could clearly feel a majestic force that was the same as before, constantly gathering in the sky. I really don't give up, I still have the energy to do it again. Lin Yan sneered and shook his head disdainfully. No matter how hard the ants try, there will be no results. Iolia, I'll leave it to you here. After finishing speaking, Lin Yan directly drove the bone dragon to fly to the side, ready to see Iolia's performance. In this original work, Lin Yan still appreciates the most successful Saint Seiya, and this time he deliberately left him. However, compared to Lin Yan's relaxed state of mind, the Magic Council and others were much more nervous. When he saw that all of Lin Yan's subordinates were starting to leave, Gurindoma even looked at him with an angry face. The podium roared. Isn't the magic spirit power ready yet? It's 95% already, soon. It's getting better. Looking at Gurindoman's stern expression, the wizard on the podium broke out in cold sweat, looking at the progress bar that was constantly recharging and trembling. Recharged, attack me immediately. I can't wait that long. In the roar of Gurindoma, the last touch of progress on the podium was finally full, and the preparations for the attack of the magic wizard power were completely completed. President. Mr. Speaker, the charging has been completed, do you attack? Attack me. Before the mage had finished speaking, a thunderous roar came from Gurindoma. Hearing this roar, the mage in charge of the podium trembled with fright, and his palm suddenly moved towards the podium. The magic circle shot. At the moment when the palm fell, the entire Magic Council was shrouded in the tide of magic power in an instant like the last time, and the light ball containing huge magic power flew towards the sky as fast as the sun. Seeing this second rise of the white magic light group, the powerhouses of various forces who could not sleep at night due to the activation of the magic wizard power, all widened their eyes, their mouths closed in surprise, and their faces were wide open, full of unbelievable looks. If it is said that Magic Council's use of magic wizard power is a shock to the world, then this second launch can be said to be as shocking as the end of the world. One shot of magic wizard power, need 2 more shots? What is the sacred place the Magic Council is facing, and what kind of enemy is it? Is it the dragon race? Even the dragon family can't resist the power of the magic spirit power, right? After all, you must know that it is the ultimate strategic weapon that can destroy a kingdom. Everyone stared blankly at the magic light group that was rising in the sky at that moment, and fell into inextricable shock. Lin Yan, those annoying ants are starting to do things unwillingly again, do you need me to solve it? Albedo looked at the majestic magic power of the magic wizard in the sky with a smile, and said to Lin Yan. For Albedo, although the power of magic wizard power is not worth mentioning, one shot is enough. After all, Lin Yan turned the previous shot into fireworks for her. If this is another episode, maybe Shaltir will also have it. Albedo doesn't want to see this scene. She finally can enjoy Lin Yan's favor alone. She definitely doesn't want others to have the same treatment. Shaltir, who had known Albedo for many years, could not understand these little juju in her heart, and waved the dropper spear in her hand and said angrily. You big-mouthed orangutan! Bai Chi! Are you courting death? You're jealous of Lord Lin Yan's doting on me, do you think I'll be afraid of you? Seeing that the two of them were about to get into trouble because of this, Lin Yan sighed helplessly. The two of you are okay, let's leave it to Iolia to deal with it this time, we'll just take a good look at it. Hearing Lin Yan's words, Albedo and Shaltir looked at each other angrily. Sundara snorted and turned his head away from looking at each other. At this time, Iolia was slowly flying into the sky, his expression was calm, and he indifferently glanced at the magic wizard power that was about to be launched in the sky, and then stopped paying attention to Zhou. As one of the most powerful among the zodiac signs, such attacks could not penetrate his eyes at all. Iolia is dressed in a golden holy garment that shines brightly. Under the faint moonlight, it is as dazzling as the sun god, is it good, descending to earth. The white cloak is even more rustling in the night wind. Exceptionally ethereal. Yan. A faint whisper suddenly sounded in the silent night sky, and I saw that Iolia slowly raised her hand and stretched out her index finger to point to the ruins of the Principality of Balo Nica below. Following Iolia's movements, a dazzling golden light suddenly bloomed at his fingertips. That dazzling light is like the sun that cuts through the night, full of brilliant flavor. At the same time, the magic wizard power in the sky far above the clouds also showed its edge once again. Just like before, a surging magic power, like a huge beam of light connecting the sky and the earth, shot straight at Lin Yan and his party below. The clouds in the night sky were instantly penetrated by this terrifying attack, forming a wide passage in the sky. Chapter 98. The target of the Magic Council is Lin Yan, and the attack range of the magic spirit power is extremely wide, completely covering Lin Yan and the others. Looking at the surging beam of light, a purple light suddenly flashed in Albedo's hand, and a plain black kite shield appeared in her hand, looking eager to try. Lord Lin Yan, do you really need me to stop him? Stay well with Albedo, but don't take Aaria's role. Lin Yan looked at Aaria's radiant figure with a faint smile in her eyes. The magic wizard power is very strong and good, even the Dragon King will be injured if he is hit, but for the Golden Saint Sia who can kill the Dragon King in seconds, it is a lot worse. Iolia stood in the air by herself, her fingertips condensed with dazzling light, and she didn't even have the desire to take a look at the violent attack from above her head, and let it fall. In the Magic Council, from the surveillance screen, Gulandoma and others looked at Lin Yan and seemed to have no intention of taking action at all, and a flash of ecstasy flashed on their faces. It seems that it is exactly as they expected. Lin Yan does not have the ability to block the attack of the magic spirit power for the second time. Even if this blow does not die, it must be able to hit it hard. At that time, as long as it works properly, Lin Yan will not worry about killing or dying. But just when joy rose in their hearts and the smiles on their faces had not yet bloomed, Iolia's body in the picture rose sharply, making their smiles completely stiff on their faces, as if a puppet general. Ridiculous. Iolia flew in the air, and the position was much closer than Lin Yan was from the magic wizard power, just at the moment when the terrifying light beam of the magic wizard power fell and was about to come. A semi-arc-shaped barrier flashing with a slight golden light suddenly appeared between Aaria and the magic wizard power. In the horrified eyes of everyone, the thin golden barrier seemed to be filled with infinite power. It was only a thin layer, but it was full of indestructible meaning. Seeing the attack of the magic wizard power, there is only a little distance from Lin Yan, but this distance is as difficult to cross as a moat. By the way, Iolia, don't break that thing in the sky, it's still useful for me to keep it. Seeing the barrier above Iolia's head, Lin Yan suddenly remembered something and said suddenly. The magic wizard power is a good thing, although the power is average for Lin Yan, but its most important use is not for attacking, but for monitoring like a satellite. With this disguised satellite, it will be much more convenient to do anything in the future. Yes, Lord Lin Yan. Hearing Lin Yan's words, Iolia responded in a low voice, and along with his words, the magic spirit power that attacked several people was once again the same as before. It shot obliquely into the sky, causing a violent explosion. Electro-optical barrier, one of the superpowers of the sixth sense, can display a barrier similar to absolute defense, bounce off local attacks, and even bounce back at the right angle. This is why Lin Yan wants to speak out and organize Iolia. This kind of ability in defense is almost bug-like. Compared with the current albedo, Rao is not as good as him in terms of defense. If albedo was used to block the magic spirit power, it would only be able to resist it hard, and it would not be able to achieve the effect of Iolia's light lifting and casually bouncing off. The attack of the magic wizard power was easily resolved. Iolia's face did not show any expression fluctuations at all. It seemed that there was just a gust of wind blowing across the face, and it was not a powerful blow at all. Attack! And at this time, the dazzling golden light between them also became more and more grand. This dark night sky is illuminated by this golden light, and the clouds in the distance reveal a faint golden light, a gorgeous scene. Behind this gorgeousness, is a more terrifying power than the magic wizard power. Light speed punch! Iolia faintly spit out 3 words, and with his voice, the light he saw suddenly burst out from his fingertips with brilliant golden light, blasting towards the Principality of Belonica on the ground. Out! The speed of light fist, the kingly way of warfare that has been handed down since ancient times, is a common trick of the Golden Saints. Although it is only a general trick, it is not a decisive battle, but in the hands of the Golden Saints, it is a terrifying existence that can easily destroy the planet. It can use fists, feet, or fingers to hit hundreds of millions of light-speed punches in an instant, and its attack range can even cover the entire planet. It can be said that every Golden Saint Seia is a star-destroying existence. But the more powerful place is that the Golden Saints can fully grasp the power of the fist of light speed, and truly achieve the level of lightweight. As far as Iolia was concerned, Lin Yan's order was to completely destroy the ruins of the Duchy of Belonica and turn them into annihilation powder. Then Iolia's attack will be completely in accordance with the order, only destroying the ruins. A burst of golden light flashed, and as the golden light passed by, in the next second, the ruins in the original position of the Principality of Belonica instantly melted like ice and snow under the scorching sun, turning into powder. The power control at that delicate moment, even the tiniest dust on the ground was not damaged, and lay quietly on the ground without being affected at all. Seeing this extreme mastery of power, Lin Yan's eyes not only showed a deep appreciation, but powerful power was something he could easily get by. But this kind of powerful control ability is the result of years and years of practice. Sir Lin Yan, everything has been resolved. Complete the task that Lin Yan ordered. Iolia came to Lin Yan and said respectfully. Very good, you did a good job, go back. Yes, Mr. Lin Yan. Iolia didn't say a word, just cut off the space and left. Looking at the flat ground with no traces of the existence of any country at all, Lin Yan nodded with satisfaction. This is what he wanted. Destroying a country is nothing, but erasing all traces of its existence is the best way to show strength. Sir Lin Yan, are we going to go back too? Shaltir stepped forward and squeezed herself into Lin Yan's arms. Well, it's time to go back, after all, there is still a tiny ant waiting for us to clean up. Chapter 99. In the surveillance screen, Lin Yan stood on the body of the bone dragon, cut a dark black hole with his hand, walked in and teleport magic through space, and disappeared in front of everyone in the Magic Council. In the entire Magic Council, until Lin Yan disappeared, there was no sound, not even breathing. All of them were deeply immersed in the picture they had just seen, unable to extricate themselves for a long time. Iolia's action was even more shocking than the shock that Lin Yan's hands had brought before. At this moment, they finally realized how ridiculous and naive they had been deceiving themselves before. Just a subordinate can easily block the attack of the magic spirit power, let alone Lin Yan, who is their master. Is it really something we can fight against? Michelo's virtual image slumped on the ground with dazed eyes, murmured in a low voice like a dream. Beside her, Gurindoma had completely collapsed in her beliefs. She was bouncing around like a madman, and she kept shouting some disorganized and incomprehensible words. Obviously, the speaker of the Magic Council couldn't bear the repeated blows, and his spirit was already insane. Looking at Gulindoma's appearance, none of the people present had the heart to laugh at him. They all bowed their heads and silently endured the extremely oppressive atmosphere. Compared with the huge pressure they still endured, they may be crazy. That's the best outcome. After a long while, Ouge slowly raised his head, his red eyes stared blankly at the crowd and said softly. When I destroyed the Principality of Belonica before, I saw a total of 12 guys with this golden armor. Ouge's words made the Magic Council even more silent. Hearing his words, everyone's faces showed bitter smiles. 12? Not to mention dealing with Lin Yan, the 12 strong men under his command alone are not something they can deal with. No, to deal with the 12 powerhouses, they may not be qualified enough, and the rest of the people are not something they can compete with. Magic Council, like a clown from start to finish, was hopping around for fun. The biggest sadness is that they regard the other party as an evenly matched opponent, and as a result, the other party doesn't care about their existence at all, just like an elephant provoked by ants, who can be trampled to death just by raising their feet. At this moment, everyone in the Magic Council finally had a simple understanding of Lin Yan and the strength of his subordinates. It was like the tip of the iceberg. The more they understood, the more shocked they felt. They also finally understood why the prosperous dragon clan 400 years ago was suddenly defeated and retired from the stage of history. It's all because of Lin Yan, and his subordinates, who are incredibly powerful. History is completely rewritten because of this man. After thinking about this, the heavy and depressed mood in everyone's heart not only did not relax a little, but became even more dull. When I thought about what Lin Yan said before he left, there was an ant that was beyond his control, waiting for him to clean up. That fearful emotion slapped the hearts of everyone like a turbulent sea. For a time, everyone who knew the news felt like they were in a sea of Wang Yang formed by fear. I am that tiny little boat, although it may be overturned by the giant wolf and fall into the abyss of boundless fear. What shall we do next? Michelo looked at Gulandoma, who was already crazy, and the people who were lost. Are we just sitting here waiting for death? If Lin Yan really brought his subordinates to come to the door, we're just afraid. The words were not finished, but the meaning expressed in them was very clear to everyone. In terms of the strength of the Magic Council, in front of Lin Yan, he was like a helpless child, and he didn't even need anyone else to take action. Just the guy in the golden armor can easily destroy them all by himself. Recalling that when Lin Yan summoned many subordinates to slaughter the Principality of Belonica, they speculated that he wanted to show his presence in a high-profile manner, but they did not expect the high profile to be so terrifying. Thinking about it now, the battle scenes in the Principality of Belonica at that time were completely like slapsticks. If Lin Yan's subordinates did their best, I'm afraid the story of 400 years ago will repeat again. There is no power of any party at all, or the kingdom can stop him. Even the dragons have been defeated, let alone them? Just when everyone fell into the abyss of despair and could not see a little bit of hope, a hoarse voice came. Protecting social stability is the responsibility of our Magic Council, but it's not just our Magic Council's responsibility. Ouge's eyes were red, and he glanced at the people around him who hung their heads in silence. I admit that our Magic Council is not an opponent of Lin Yan and his men, but our Magic Council represents order and social stability. The matter of fighting against Lin Yan should not only be undertaken by our Magic Council. This is something every guild and every country should participate in. Lin Yan's existence is like an unstable bomb to the stability of society, and it may explode at any time. This time it makes us, the next time it may be someone else. I believe that the presidents of other guilds are not short-sighted. Only by joining forces can we become stronger. In this dull and depressing atmosphere, Ouge's hoarse and low voice was like a shot in the arm, pulling everyone out of the abyss of despair little by little. Yet, why is it only our Magic Council's responsibility to face this kind of guy who is dangerous to the whole society? Especially in this situation where there is no confrontation ability, it is even more necessary to cooperate with other forces. This is the era 400 years later. In these 400 years, we have been learning and progressing, and the whole society has become better and better. As long as we are united, I believe that even Lin Yan can be defeated. Throughout the Magic Council, Ago's voice continued to echo, inspiring the tiny flame of hope in everyone's heart. However, if Lin Yan were here, they would definitely mock their ignorance mercilessly. They who had never experienced the era of the raging dragon race would not know the horror of the dragon race at all. What's more, Lin Yan, who can press the dragons to the ground and rub them on the ground, will bring about the deep despair under the full firepower. Where? Chapter 100. From Lin Yan's attack to the collapse of the Principality of Belonica, this series of events seems to have passed for a long time, but in fact, only a few hours have passed. If it weren't for Lin Yan's teasing thoughts, I'm afraid that in the blink of an eye, it would have ended all this. When the group returned to the kingdom of Fiori, it was only early morning. Looking at the wall with a large hole in front of him due to the previous attack, Lin Yan looked at Albedo and the others helplessly, and said softly. Looks like we'll just have to change to another hotel. Naturally, Albedo and the others would not have any opinion. Lin Yan's decision was the best choice, but he had followed Lin Yan there before and had witnessed the destruction of the Principality of Baronica from beginning to end. At this time, the whole person seemed to be stupid, and he followed him in a daze, speechless and silent. Watching a country go from prosperity to demise in just a few hours, this terrifying strength, this chilling cruelty. In Eclair's heart, she left a deep imprint. The man in front of him has a power that is almost unmatched in the whole world, especially the way he can easily deal with the magic spirit power, which is even more shocking. Although Eclair has forgotten a lot of memories, the fact that she has lived in this world for 400 years does not mean that she has no common sense. She had heard of the magic wizard power, the ultimate weapon of the magic council. Even the magic spirit power is useless against this man, and Eclair can't think of anything that can threaten this man. Lin Yan left a few gold coins of the Dragonov kingdom in the destroyed hotel, and was about to take a few people to find a new hotel. Although it wasn't Lin Yan who destroyed the hotel, it was because of him after all, so he talked more or less to show his intentions. Just as he was about to leave, Lin Yan looked at Eclair who was standing in a daze, a look of sudden realization flashed in his eyes, as if he had suddenly remembered something, and walked towards her. Seeing Lin Yan approaching, Eclair's eyes were filled with fear, she subconsciously took a step back, her slender palms tightly clenched her chest, and the slightly whitish knuckles revealed her inner unease. Exhausted. Compared with Eclair, the little bird beside her, Meng Meng, was obviously going to be on the road a lot, and she respectfully saluted Lin Yan. Lin Yan-sama, thank you for helping Eclair resolve the threat. He never mentioned the extermination of the country, and kept thanking Lin Yan. Seeing the completely different performance of one person and one bird, Lin Yan smiled indifferently, took out an object from his pocket, and stretched out his palm. This is what my subordinates found in the Principality of Baronica. I think it's time to return it to its original owner. On the dimly lit street, the dimly lit street lamps brought a small amount of light, and under this light, Eclair's breathing suddenly became rapid. It's not because of anything else, but the thing in Lin Yan's hands is exactly the half-phoenix stone that Baronica snatched from the fire village 400 years ago. This is what Solution Epsilon, the maid of the Pleiades, accidentally found when he tortured and killed the prince of the Principality of Baronica in the palace. Originally, he was going to throw it away, but he overheard Shaltir mention it during the battle, so when he left, he gave it to Lin Yan. Looking at the phoenix stone in front of her, Eclair's eyes flashed with excitement. 400 years, a full 400 years, what she was looking for all the time finally appeared in front of her eyes. This also means that her heavy responsibility can finally be let go. Eclair's white and slender fingers trembled, and she slowly stretched out her hand to take the phoenix stone from Lin Yan's hand, but she didn't seem to have the courage to touch it. Seeing Eclair's hesitant appearance, Lin Yan slapped half of the phoenix stone on Eclair's hand, then turned and left. Protect these two stones, if they are combined, the world will be destroyed. Lin Yan said with a chuckle at the corner of his mouth, and was about to leave with Albedo and the others. In fact, Lin Yan didn't care about Eclair, the Phoenix Witch. If it wasn't for Shirato Sayori who wanted to save her at the time, he wouldn't even bother to look at her more. Now that there are so many beautiful girls around him, and he is still so obedient, is it necessary to waste time on Eclair? This is of course impossible. As for the Phoenix Stone destroying the world, it was just a joke. Although the Phoenix summoned by this magic really has the power to destroy the world, after all, it is not a joke to perish with the dragon family. But for Lin Yan, it is not too simple to solve it. The world 400 years later, but Lin Yan's resort, how could it be so easily destroyed? A mere artificial phoenix, as long as it appears, the Golden Saint Cia can destroy it with one punch across a distance of 108,000 miles, without any pressure. The reason why she said that to Eclair was just to frighten her. However, it is unintentional, but the listener is intentional. Listening to Lin Yan's joking words, Eclair looked down at the half-phoenix stone in her hand, her expression extremely complicated, and suddenly felt that this small stone seemed to have a weight of tens of millions of pounds. The fate of the whole world seemed to be in her hands, and the heavy sense of responsibility made her almost breathless. Even after 400 years, Claire was nothing but a delicate girl, and she thought she had gotten rid of the entanglement of responsibilities. But I didn't expect that not only was it not as I thought, but that responsibility became heavier. At this time, Meng Meng did not chatter as before, but silently looked at Claire. The two had been dependent on each other for so long. No one knew the responsibility of the Phoenix Stone better than them. In terms of Ekalai's strength, the Phoenix Stone on her body is an endless disaster. Every man is innocent of guilt and has no corresponding power to protect her. Sooner or later, Ekalai will be overwhelmed by this pressure. Claire. Meng Meng looked at her dim eyes and hesitated. Needless to say, I already know what to do. Claire suddenly raised her head, and a smile appeared on her originally cold face, like a flower blooming in the dark night.